Good evening, gentlemen.
Yo, what's up, my man?
What's happening?
Not much. How are you today?
I am good, sir. It is Friday. My camera. My camera's very annoying. I need to invest in a camera, a proper one.
A proper camera. What kind of camera do you got?
It is a Microsoft something or other. I actually found it when I was cleaning out an office in work, and like, as you know, I'm not really a webcam streamer, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. I probably never use it, but hey, now we're looking to use the cams a bit, so
Sure.
we got to get the setup going. But I want to get one for like OBS and then a separate one for Discord. I presume you have to have two different ones, right? Am I right? Or can you like?
Yeah. You can't use them at the same time.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, anytime I've ever tried to use them at the same time, I have to like deactivate and reactivate it in OBS and stuff. It's just no.
I heard of a plugin for OBS. It like you can turn it into like a virtual webcam.
I saw something about that virtual webcam, but I didn't know what the hell it was, so I was like, I'm too afraid to mess around with this in a live situation.
Is that the kind that Papa Bear has? You know, when he's like interacting as a bear.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Mex Luther, what's up, dude? Get in here. Talk to us.
Hello, Mex.
Oh,
Yo,
Mex is saying he likes my hair. Hang on. Check out the fade.
Oh, look at the mid fade. Okay, baby.
No messing. Ooh.
Ooh. Now that's how Finto got the girlfriend.
Fresh fades, baby. I haven't had a fade in about 5 months now, so
Yeah.
I gotta get ready for work soon, or else I'd be there. That's okay, Max. That's okay. I think Kyle Crunk's gonna be here. Bronxy said he was gonna be here, but he's gonna be a little late, so I told him just to kind of dive in whenever.
Amazing.
Getting the full boat.
Everyone's just throwing shoutouts in the chat. I love it. Oh, we got a boost again. Uh-oh.
How do you get, dude? I haven't gotten a boost in so long.
Do you know this? The exact same thing happened to me when I first started getting them. I got them on the same day, like clockwork, and then they just stopped out of nowhere. So what I ended up doing was going into preferences and actually disabling it for like 5 minutes, and then re-enabling it, and then the next week they kind of came. They kind of popped back of their own accord.
Gotcha.
It's kind of silly, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I had a bit of a difficult Friday, so I'm popping a beer.
Oh my god. What do I got?
Cheers.
Sláinte.
Cheers.
Sláinte.
I don't know what that means.
That's like the Irish version of Skål. Guys, thank you for the boosts, everybody. Kyle, what's up? Sent you a DM. Sorry, brother. Had some IRL shit come up. That's okay, Kyle. Don't worry about it, dude. It's all good. I feel bad because Kyle was texting me during the week, and he was really into Iron Man 1 and 2. So sad he can't make it right now.
He didn't watch them. We know the truth.
What you making there, drunkie?
Oh, I just wanted to join in. I got a little whiskey.
Ow!
Let's go.
Hey,
Making an Irishman proud. Guys, thank you for contributing to the boost. You guys are amazing.
We're boosting.
We're boosting. We're going nowhere, but we're boosting there. Like, honestly, like I've been like really like kind of trying to watch the boosts. I know maybe for my channel it's a different story to a different channel, but like I'd say I get maybe 7 viewers and they're there for like 5 minutes and then they're gone. Like it's just so fucking pointless. But hey, it's a bit of fun for the chat to try and get to the target, you know.
We're for sure.
We're like Doge. We got to go to the moon. Yeah. So I don't know who else is joining us. Saberwolf, what's up, dude? Wired, how are you? I don't know. I think Bronxy said he's gonna. I just told him to jump in, so I think we should just maybe just start and
let's go.
Yeah, we'll go from there. You know. Anybody who's new who hasn't been to the podcast before, if you want to ask a question to us while we're talking and shooting the shit, if you wouldn't mind highlighting the message, just so that it pops out at me, just because I know sometimes I don't react to the chat too much, and when I look over, people are just having conversations with themselves, which I love to see. But if something's meant for us, if you want to ask me a question, or Drunky or Anders a question, just highlight it for us so we can see it. That's all I ask. That is all I ask. I need to do something with my alerts when I'm trying to do this podcast thing. It's it could be frustrating. I just got a little host there, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so loud in my ear. Like usually when you're playing games, you don't realize how loud it is. There you go, Drunky did it perfectly. Hello, sir.
Gotcha.
Hello there.
Hello.
Yo, Ferry, what's up, dude? Thank you for the host, dude. Yeah, I put in some new like sound alerts in my stream. I can't actually claim them myself, but I have like Obi-Wan Kenobi doing like hello there.
That's so troll, bro.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I love it. So yeah, people have been loving that. Zaberwolf wanted to say I'm glad I was there when Anders explained his left arm tattooed in Jesse's stream. I missed that, so I may need a recap of that, please.
Well, this binocular was made by 2 professional football players or soccer players.
Okay.
As a marketing campaign for the Swedish biggest betting company, Svenska Spel.
Hello.
And it was 2 football players who made it, and it was broadcasted live on TV, and it was marketed during the game of Sweden versus Spain.
Oh wow!
The biggest, yeah. So that was and Jessie didn't know, so I told her during the stream because she asked about my tattoos.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. There's it was 38 million views in earned views, so to say, over the world.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The football players tattooed you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Victor Nilsson Lindelöf of Manchester United and John Guidetti of Celta Vigo in Spain. Tattoo.
That's very cool.
That's awesome. So yeah, it was a fun story. They never done a tattoo before, so that was super fun. And that sparked an idea in my head that I want to do a YouTube show where I go around and meet famous and interesting people and let them tattoo something on me.
That's a good idea. I like it.
just like you see this flower? Oprah made this. It's green because that's her favorite color. I just realized that green is Oprah's favorite color, not purple.
Good save.
And I kind of have told everyone that purple is their favorite color, and I feel like a liar. So yeah, that's a big part right now.
Excellent. That's cool, dude. That's a really good idea. Just really quickly, guys, thank you for the boosts, and I just want to explain. Somebody highlighted there asking to explain the boost. So basically, Twitch just created this thing where if each channel is kind of ranked, I suppose, and then you have to collect a certain amount of channel points from your community. And when you do that, what it does is it basically just puts your channel on the front page of Twitch for under the category. So I suppose if we were to get it now, I'm gonna guess I'd go into just chatting and maybe promote myself maybe to the top of just chatting for 5 minutes or something like that, and then you might get a couple of random follows and some random foot flow. That's pretty much it. But it doesn't cost anything. It's just channel points. So the channel points don't really do anything here. So all good.
Yeah, the boost is like the cloud. No one understands it. No one really gets it. No one knows why it became a thing. It's just there now.
There.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Exactly. So yeah, Anders, I know you've been missing for a couple of weeks, but what we've been doing now is, because we've got no content for the next few weeks until Loki on the 9th of June, which actually isn't that far away, which is crazy. What we've been doing is we decided to restart the MCU, and we're going to do it in a timeline order and just watch them from Captain America 1 in 1944 all the way up to Endgame. And I presume that'll probably take us a long time to do, because we're going to have content in the middle that we're going to need to stop and restart and so on.
Yep.
So yeah, basically we did Captain Marvel and Captain America, which were the first 2, and now we're on to Iron Man. And we kind of just said what we would do is kind of bundle Iron Man 1 and 2 together into just kind of one viewing, and or like 1 week, and then we'll just kind of discuss those 2 movies, because I think like the 2 of those movies were actually like back to back in the timeline. So you know, there's no, like, I suppose there's no point in kind of spreading Iron Man over 2 weeks. I think it's a pretty good idea to just kind of knock them out of the park now in one stream.
Sounds like a great plan, to be honest. I haven't prepared anything if you want me to do an essay or something like that, but I saw it maybe 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, so it should be quite fresh.
Yeah, I think
quite fresh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mex just wants to know very quickly, Drunky, what was your score on Ori Village? I actually missed the end of it because I was working, so I feel like I don't need to play that game anymore because I pretty much saw you play the whole thing, so I'm like, nah, do I need to play it? I don't think I do. The stream.
Because I had issues with my main piece when I streamed it again, where it was like dumping out with encoding, so I had to finish it offline. So.
Oh wow, okay. I was wondering why you finished so early.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. I reformatted the sucker. I cleared everything off. We're starting fresh on this guy.
Okay.
So a score, is he talking about rating, or do they actually give you like a score at the end of it?
I don't know. I think he's. Oh, I think he is actually talking about score because I think when you finish the game, they give you stats at the end of Resident Evil, don't they? So how many times you died and like what your how many kills, like how many times you died, like what your accuracy averages were and stuff like that. As far as I know, because I've seen one of the guys, Gabe. I've seen him complete a few of the games recently. Like, to be honest, I'm not the biggest Ori fan myself.
Mm-hmm.
But Max
was huge. Whatever it was huge.
Oh, like the first games, I remember being 10 years old and playing them, and I thought they were like I was way too young to be playing them. Like, you know, because I was like, you know, I had to sneak out of bed and turn on the PlayStation and try to be really quiet, and you know, I was sitting right like nose up to the TV just because I had to have it on really low, and definitely too young to be playing them. And I remember when those dogs burst through the window, I was like, nope. I'm like, I'm done.
That dog crawling across the window is like, I think it's a definitive moment for all young people who played RE. Like, no.
That one was like, nope. So yeah, he's looking for the personal rating.
Honestly, that's a 10 out of 10, man. I'll have a full review on it tomorrow night on the YouTube. But that's a full 10 out of 10 game that's like, the graphics are amazing, the story's fantastic, everything's like paced perfectly. Yeah. The gameplay's not like it's if you're looking for like a horror game like a Resident, like it's as good as it gets in gaming, man. Like that's top notch gaming right there. I struggled to find anything that's wrong with it. And my only thing would be like maybe it's too short, but it's hard to say that when everything's so good and it's like it feels so complete and like well paced, you know?
Yeah, like I obviously can't rate it because I haven't played it, but the parts that I saw, it seemed really, really cool. Like it seemed like you were like fully immersed into like Underworld the movie, like with the Lycans and stuff like that. Like I genuinely, I felt like from what I was like, I know how I would react playing the game, and I just feel like it's very immersive and stuff like that. Even watching it, like to say I felt immersed watching it, which is a big deal. Especially because you know we all sit on Twitch all day. You know, I think it kind of takes out of the magic a little bit of watching gaming when you're on Twitch so often, like, but I think the game just looked amazing, and I think I probably will play it, but I'll wait for it to go on sale or something like that. Like I feel like I know it's short and I feel like I know the storyline now, so I'm just like I'll play it, but I don't know when.
Dude, it's worth it. The graphics are just I don't think I've seen anything like as detailed graphically. You can get like figurines after you beat the game. You can do like, you know, bonus content figurines that you can like zoom up on and stuff. Yeah. And you can zoom in so close on like I was looking at Chris Redfield's model, and like on his shirt the knitting you can see, but then they're so detailed that they actually have like little like specks of like cat hair just hanging out on his shirt. Wow. For you to see that's like raises above. And I'm just like, what? Like, why would you? Okay, I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Like this is the deal.
Yeah, I saw the part in the game where I don't really want to ruin the story for the game, but there's like a kind of pivotal part with the main character, and then you kind of switch to start playing another character, and it looked like Call of Duty. Like I was like, holy shit, this looks amazing! Like I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was crazy. It was really cool.
It's worth it.
Yeah, like I think I'll probably pick it up. I'd be the fact that it's a first person shooter. I think I want to play it on PC. I want to play it on keyboard and mouse, just because I hate playing shooter games on controller. Like even like when I'm playing the likes of The Last of Us or Uncharted, like I know there's not a massive amount of shooting in those games, but even still it just really annoys me. And like I'll never forget like playing Battlefront 2, the campaign, a game that I would usually play on controller. I played it on keyboard and mouse because I didn't think it would be that difficult. Like, you know, there's not that many controls and stuff like that. And just like the accuracy I had, it was nearly playful. Like I just thought the game was just too easy because I was just hitting stormtroopers headshots every single time. Like there was no skill to it at all. Like I was even just like challenging myself to do a full level, like shooting off the hip. Like I wouldn't use ADS at all. Like, and it was just so easy. And then like there was during cutscenes where like on controller, I know it would be a really like hard timing to get like it lined up to shoot this guy in the head during a cutscene. But like with the mouse, I was like, click. It was just the easiest thing ever. I was almost laughing like playing through it. Like,
dude, like PC is just the best way to experience games. Like
I
don't knock consoles. I think they're great entry, but I think PC gaming is the best version of the experience. I just do.
I do, and like I love PC gaming. Obviously, like even with Valhalla, like I'm playing it on PC. I think it would be cool to play it on console. I probably you probably wouldn't have as many bugs. I think it'd be a more solid game on console. But and like I play it on PC with controller, but I still love it. I still like love it on PC. If you get me, like
yeah, I get you. Yeah.
I should download Apex. Everybody knows my stance on Apex. I will download Apex the day they give me my cosmetics back.
Yeah, I heard that from Clint too.
Well, I won't fold like Clint. I can tell you that much. I can promise you that. I will not fold like Clint. I am standing my ground. Yeah, Weaven, what's up? How are you? Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Mex wanted to apologize for us going off topic. How dare you have us talk about gaming? How dare you, sir?
I'm not going to join the podcast, so I'm just going to derail it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to join it, but I will fuck it up.
Classic Mex.
This fucking guy here with no comp when it comes shooting on controller. I like, to be honest, like I actually remember when I first started on my PC, I had my controller like right beside me, and I used to always kind of fail back to it when I got pissed off because I didn't want, like, you know, definitely with Fortnite anyway, like with like, you know, the binds and stuff. But I find like if you're moving to PC, you got to put the controller away. That's what one of my friends told me. He's been playing PC for a long time. He was just like, get your controller and put it in another room and just force yourself to stay on keyboard and mouse. And honestly, like after like a week of playing, like I noticed obviously like your accuracy gets so much better with your shotguns and your AORs and everything. I was like, fuck it, I'll just learn to build again. It's not a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? I was seeing such a benefit from the accuracy in shooting that I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll learn to build again. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I came from PS4. I built my PC this December, and I want to go keyboard mouse on Fortnite whenever I play that. But I need to have my controller in this room. One, because I have a one room apartment. This is my room.
Yeah.
And that's
put it under the bed. Put it under the bed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I need to have a controller. Rocket League is like only game that you have to play with a controller.
I'm not dissing controllers because, as I just said to you, I am playing Valhalla on controller because I tried to play it on keyboard and mouse, and just that game style for me is like, you know, with the whole kind of like dodging and all that sort of thing. For me, that kind of game style has always been on controller for me, like with like the likes of Uncharted and all that stuff. For me, it's very hard to kind of break that. And if I was to play another Assassin's Creed game, which I probably won't because they're just too long and overdrawn, I would do it on controller again. I wouldn't switch to keyboard and mouse. I tried. I really did. I tried. I gotta say, Andrew, sorry, just real quick. I don't know how I didn't notice it, but I love the little merch shout out in the background there. It's incredible, dude.
So me,
I saw yours. Max. I saw yours straight away.
Yeah, we have Bronxy, we have Finto, and then on that paper we have Dronky. I don't have your merch. And I've written Kyle on this one as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, you're all represented here. I don't have your merch or Kyle's yet, but yeah, the rest of you is represented.
I love it, dude. Okay, let's crack in. So yeah, like we basically, as I said, we were watching during the week Iron Man 1 and 2. Like just from the get-go, like in this film, like I just find that like Robert Downey Jr. like is just the best actor ever. Like, you know, I just love him so much. He's just the perfect Tony Stark, and like he just portrays the character perfectly. Like every time I watch that film, it takes me straight back to when I saw it in the cinema, and I remember just thinking to myself, "Wow, I've never seen somebody just like slide into a character that was written for him straight away." Like from like the opening sequence where he's in the back of the Jeep, and like, you know, he's like flirting with the female fucking army person and stuff like that, like
airman.
Yeah, like it's just like it's just perfect. Like it really is. Like you get the Tony Stark vibe literally out the door, like, and it's just perfect. Fun fact, I don't know if you realized, but the people that actually abduct him at the start of the first one is the real Ten Rings. So
Yeah.
I know I didn't know.
I heard that, and I didn't know if that was going to be the actual like organization, or if it's kind of like, they're like, no, we're similar, but we're not the full Ten Rings.
Apparently it is the actual Ten Rings, so it's not the kind of fake Mandalorian that, or whatever his name is, that's that's in the third one.
Yeah.
The Ten Rings, yeah. So the Ten Rings are the organization that work for him, the Mandarin, the real Mandarin.
Yeah.
And that's what the Shang-Chi movie's going to be about.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, so like they've been in it from the start, and then like I saw that there's another interesting one as well. Just I was watching some kind of, again, I've said previously I don't really know much about the Ten Rings, so I was watching a couple of like breakdown videos of like the Shang-Chi trailer and stuff, and apparently they're one of the people that are originally bidding in Ant-Man. They're one of the people that are originally bidding on the yellow jacket. Do you remember they're trying to sell the yellow jacket technology?
Yeah.
And like Hydra obviously get it, or like tried to get it, and the Ten Rings are there. They're trying to buy it as well. You can see one of the guys has like a Ten Rings tattoo on his neck and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I think I've seen that screenshot.
It's cool. It's cool that they're actually there the entire time, but like just like subtly hiding in the background. So I thought that was really cool. Like the fact that it's like, I always consider, obviously Iron Man was the first to be released, so I always do consider it the start of the MCU. Obviously, it's not the start from a timeline perspective, but it is always the beginning of the MCU. Like,
absolutely.
It's the beginning. So it's just amazing that like from within the first 20 minutes of the film, the Ten Rings are there. So it's really cool. Yeah.
I think like one thing when I was watching it, just getting taken back to, is I know like they always like talk about how Iron Man and Captain America are like weren't well-known comic book characters at the time. And that's why they were able to get these movies made, right? Versus the popular ones that got sold off. Yeah. But like Iron Man to me growing up was always like whenever I'd be at like a comic book store, I always be looking at the front pages of them and flipping through the books, because I was always just in love with like his suit, like him and War Machine. Those suits were like so fascinating. Yeah. So like when I go back and watch this one, I can remember like it was like 2008, sitting in the movie theater and like just not even believing that we're getting an Iron Man movie, and then it being that good. And it is kind of like Captain America when we were talking about how I go back and I watch these, and just how fun the MCU movies used to be before we got into this like blip era where there's just like nothing but grief and like everyone's sad and there's all this like bad nonsense going on. Like it was pure fun having Robert Downey Jr. in the role, and just building his suit. Like everything about that movie was just the music. It was over the top and it was fun. And I it's one of the best MCU movies, man. Like I just love it. It holds up amazingly well, I think.
100%. Yeah, it's
really does. Yeah.
It's incredible. What are your guys' thoughts on Terrance Howard's performance in the movie? Like, obviously we know he didn't hang around, but
I think that I like him better than Don Cheadle.
100%.
I think he plays a military person way more convincing than Don Cheadle does. Don Cheadle does not seem like a military guy.
No. I agree with that. No. Like, if it wasn't for the disagreement, I legit think that he would make a better War Machine, like going forward, than Don Cheadle. 100%.
I saw. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think I posted it on Discord, but I saw an amazing meme there the other day of Terrance Howard, and it's like, where he does the thing, it's like, next time baby, and it's like, where he's looking at the War Machine thing and he walks off, it's in like, we'll do it in the sequel, and then it's like last seen 11 years ago. Like last online 11 years ago. I absolutely rolled around laughing when I saw that. I thought it was so fucking funny.
I love the way they addressed it in Iron Man 2, where he just shows up, he's I'm here, this is me, get over it. Like, yeah it's just so good, bro. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like like I think Robert Downey Jr. got paid $500,000 for the first Iron Man movie, and Terrance Howard got something like $9 million.
What?
Yeah. So
is that for real?
Yeah, and this was apparently the reason behind it, because Downey Jr. obviously was going to get a pay increase for the second movie, and I think Terrence Howard was looking for more money as well, but it's like, we cannot pay you a significant amount more than the lead actor who has changed the world now of superhero movies, like, you know. So that's apparently why I believe that's the main reason why he was cut as the character. They literally couldn't afford to keep him going. And if you think about it, if Terrence Howard was still in it today, like, I know Robert Downey Jr.'s gone to the godlike status of, like, you know, when he's in Homecoming, he does 8 minutes of shooting and he gets $15 million. But, like, what would Terrence Howard be getting if he was still here now? Like, I don't know if he would transcend the money that he was on. Maybe he'd stay on the same. But again, like, you know, they obviously couldn't afford to or didn't want to pay him that much money, like, you know. I think he was a much bigger actor at the time, and I think they got him in, and it was a kind of pivotal role for him. Like, he had pivotal roles before. I think this was the maker for Robert Downey Jr. Obviously, with all of his real life stuff that went on, because obviously he was a big actor in the 80s and stuff, and then he kind of, in the 80s and 90s, and then he kind of lost his mind a bit and came back then for the triumphant return. What a legend, man! Like, I love him so much. Like,
Hustle and Flow, Terrence Howard, so he was making money, bro. Like, Hustle and Flow was a huge movie for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe he turned like $9 million for a side character.
Like, I'm pretty sure, I may be getting the numbers slightly wrong, but it is something outrageous. Like, I know Robert Downey Jr. was getting $500,000 for the first film, and I think Terrence Howard, it was either 8, 9, or 11 or something like around that ballpark.
I hope it was 11. I hope he got paid for his one MCU appearance. Yeah.
Carl Crunk here just saying something, sorry. Biggest takeaway Meech and I had was, we're happy that we're watching in the order. Yeah. Love seeing Jon Favreau farting around as happy. I was watching, like, because what I really like to do now, because I've seen the movie so many times that, not that they're boring to watch, but they're just, I know them back to front now. It's kind of like Star Wars, like, you know, I get to a stage with Star Wars when I'm watching the original trilogy that, like, I know the parts that I can fast forward because I know, like, I don't want to see them for the 100th time, whereas, like, you know, I'll always watch the lightsaber fights and I'll always watch the main dialogue and, you know, when he lands down in Dagobah and stuff like that. But, like, you know, the kind of fluff pieces, I can always skip through them. But I'm starting to get that way with Marvel a bit now. So what I'm doing when we're doing this is I'm going in and watching all the deleted scenes. I'm watching all the behind the scenes stuff and all, because I just want to kind of get a bit of a deeper knowledge of it. And Favreau, like, when they were making the movie, like, he had said himself, he's like, he didn't know who Happy was, I don't think, and what he was saying was he put that character into the film because, number one, he wanted to kind of just mess around in the background of the film himself, but he didn't really want a pivotal role. But what he wanted to do, he realized how important the character was for the fandom, and he wanted to put Happy in it as a kind of a tip to the hat to the OGs, like, who were just like, you know, we're going to put Happy in it. And there's a great behind the scenes thing where he's getting his hair cut like him, and they've got a comic book page out and they're copying his hair and everything. It's fucking epic, like. Clint, what's up, dude? Thank you for the compliment on the haircut. My man.
Got a haircut.
I did. 5 months later, finally get the fade back.
Can I just say this? This might be a little, well, not controversial. It's whatever. I feel like I like the Iron Man suit in Iron Man 1 better than I do the in-game or the Infinity War nano suit. I really enjoy the scenes where they're like putting the suit together and you see it screwing together and like just coming to, like, I kind of miss that in the Iron Man. As cool as the nano thing was, when I saw this stuff, I'm like, man, it's like, it felt good. It felt like Iron Man.
Yeah,
it felt real. Let's say.
Yeah, like, and there's, again, I highly recommend everybody here to go and watch all those extras on Disney. Like, Disney are phenomenal for putting in all that extra content. Like, every movie that you go into, there's like behind the scenes footage, there's alternate, like, deleted scenes and alternate scenes and stuff. There's actually a hilarious one. I'm not going to play it now just because there's music in it and everything, and I actually I had to like edit my video when I put it up on YouTube last week because it got like blocked because I put a clip in it. But that was the first time that had happened to me. So it was with one of the Captain Marvel clips. Like, they proper like refused to upload the video, so I had to kind of edit it and then re-upload it. That's why it took a few days to get up. But yeah, like, there's an amazing scene in, if you go into the special like features or whatever you want to call it of Iron Man 2, there's an alternate opening of the film, And I think I had seen a part of it before, because I remember when they first released the trailer for that film. I don't know if you remember the original trailer for that movie, but there's the scene at the very start where he's on the plane with Pepper, and he's like, "Oh, give me a kiss for luck," we're going into the battleground or whatever, and then she kisses the helmet and throws it out the plane, and that wasn't actually cool. That wasn't actually in the main movie, because I remember I watched that trailer so many times. Because I used to work in a shop that sold Apple computers, and what I used to do was I'd walk around every day and I'd put 4K trailers on all the Macs just to show them off, and the amount of them that we'd sell, because they'd be like, "Oh my god, look at that picture, it's amazing." But I used to always put on like Transformers and Iron Man 2 and all these cool trailers, and I just have them loop and playing all day long on all the displays. And I remember I watched that trailer like 100 times, and I remember thinking when I went to see it, I was like, "Hang on a second, where's the bit where she kisses the helmet and throws it out the window, or the back of the plane?" I was like, that's like hilarious, but it's in this alternate start on the deleted scenes, and the movie starts and all you hear is like Tony, and he's just like, "Oh my god," he's like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna die," and all you think it's this big like dramatic scene, but he's like, it cuts to him and he's getting sick into a toilet, he's hung over to bits like and then so funny. Oh, it's brilliant. And then like he's talking to her for a minute, and he's like, "I don't want to do it. I can't. I'm hung over to bits and all." And then he does the bit like, "Give me a kiss for good luck," and then she throws the helmet out, and I'm like, "That's the start we should have got." Like, it was fantastic. So good.
Seeing Fury at the post-credit scene for the first one too.
Yeah.
First off, Sam, Jackson, a lot younger. Like, you're really starting to see him age throughout these MCU movies when you go back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone really, but
like that movie was shot in 2007, so that's a long time ago. Like, that's what's that, 14 years ago? 14 years ago they would have shot it, like, so it's a long time. Big time.
Just how, dude, I remember the feeling how crazy it was, because post-credit scenes weren't like really a big thing before the MCU, right? Like, every once in a while you hear like a rumor about one, but for the most part nothing ever happened, right? And then I remember sitting in the movie theater, like, there was a rumor to stick around. This wasn't like peak MCU internet time. It was just everyone just kind of talking about it. Yeah. And seeing Sam Jackson show up at the end of it, dude. Like, I remember being like just freaking out, because first off, you're like, all right, Sam Jackson, like, this is amazing, bro. Like, this is the best. Like, early 2000 Sam Jackson, that was another, like, he was a little bit bigger then in terms of acting, like, being iconic and just mysterious to me. Like, what's Sam Jackson up to? And then not even knowing like who he was. Yeah. Because Fury being a white dude in the comic book, I'm like, who the fuck is he? Like, what is this? What is this?
I reacted the same way, because I used to know Nick Fury from the Spiderman cartoons when I was a kid, and he was like, he looked like Chris Evans, sort of, like, with the hair and the patch and stuff, like, and I was like, who's this guy? I was like, oh my god, it's the same guy. That was kind of the first, growing up, like, that was kind of the first time they kind of did a really kind of drastic change to a character like that, right? It's like, he's probably one of the first, I would say. I may be completely wrong with that. That could be complete bullshit. I don't know, but it felt that way to me.
I'll
anyway.
Accept it.
Yeah. Zaberwolf actually says in the chat here, he's talking about Edward Norton. He said like Edward Norton had the same kind of issues, as Terrance Howard, with the fact that, like, I think he wanted more money and he wanted more control. Like, I know the control was a massive thing for him. He obviously directed and starred in the first Hulk movie, and the stipulation for him was, I'll do this movie, but I want to be the Hulk, but I want to direct it as well, because like the Hulk was a passion project for him. And I know the first movie wasn't great, but I think they would have kept him on if he would have relinquished control, which he didn't want to do. As far as I know, he had said that he would continue on, because obviously they have that post-credit scene again where Tony shows up at the end of his film, and he's like, hey, we're putting a team together. So obviously Edward Norton was meant to be there, like, he was meant to be involved. But I think what happened was, obviously Kevin Feige comes in, it's like, right, we're taking this over, we're picking our directors, we're doing this and that, and it's like, you want to play Banner, all great, but he was like, I will only direct stuff that I'm Banner in, and they were like, no, so obviously they kind of saw that movie wasn't great, and then they just kind of were like, yeah, look, we'll recast. And like, I love Mark Ruffalo, absolutely love him.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, back then that was a brave decision,
big time, yeah.
Edward Norton was a bigger name, and Hulk was a bigger name than Marvel itself, and Mark Ruffalo himself, and Kevin Feige himself.
Yeah.
Like Edward Norton was huge back then, still is, but I mean back then it was so much bigger.
I think it was
bigger picture.
I think it was very intelligent the way they did it as well. Like they dropped off the kind of Hulk vibe for a little while. They let it settle. They let the Avengers build up. You know, we got Thor first, and we had the 2 Iron Man movies, and I think I can't remember. Obviously, yeah, we had Captain America then as well. And then they bring in the Avengers, and it's like, okay, now we're going to introduce Banner. When the whole team is made up, we know where it's going. We need a Hulk.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty smart, too, like, the way they've handled Hulk ever since then. I don't know if it's intentional or not. But, like, Hulk really isn't that great of a main character because he's the Hulk. How much, acting can the Hulk do and, like, carry his... It's just weird, which is why they went to, like, Professor Hulk eventually because that makes him more interesting. He's a much better side character, so I really enjoy that they kind of sidelined him from, like, the main role there.
Here's a question for you, and I heard this being brought up on a different show that I was watching, but they were talking about Hulk, and... they mentioned that obviously we have Professor Hulk now, and a lot of people like miss the old Hulk, and it's like, how do we get back there? Can he go back, or is he stuck as Professor Hulk now? Like,
I don't think it can go back now. No,
I don't think so either. But I think they need to. Like, you need Hulk smashing stuff up and going ballistic. I think, I think so. I think he's
I think they have to write up the Hulk. I mean, I think Professor Hulk can be in the Young Avengers and New Avengers and so on as like a supporting character and like a mentor for the team, but like the guy smashing the cars, that's up for another type of character in the future. I think we're done with the Hulk kind of character altogether in the Avengers team.
We're gonna get like Red Hulk or something instead.
Yeah, Red Hulk, She-Hulk or whatever. Like, just like moving on from Bruce Banner's Hulk.
I know he's going to be in She-Hulk, so maybe he kind of takes a kind of a step back role. I don't want him to leave though. I think he's a great character, and I love. Oh, sorry, we just got a raid there. Oh my god, my ears. Jessica, what's up? Thank you so much for the raid. Let's go.
It's your 3-year anniversary on Twitch as an affiliate.
3 years. Amazing.
3 years. Yeah.
Amazing. No, you never have to apologize for Zemo dancing in my ear. I will. That can never get old. As I said, I will take 2 DMCA strikes for that, and then I'll take it down. But until then, it stays. 100%. The Zemo jam is the best thing ever. Yeah. So yeah, like I think what's gonna happen there is he'll be in She-Hulk, and maybe then she'll take over as kind of the Hulk, if that makes sense. But I really don't want to see him go.
If Nat dying doesn't turn him back into the Hulk, I don't think anything else in the MCU really gets him back to that point where he's like full on Hulk. I don't know much of like the comic book lore when it comes to the Hulk and Professor Hulk. Like I'm kind of ignorant about that stuff.
Yeah.
But like to me, just as like a movie watcher, like unless he does stuff with like Young Avengers where he moves into like a mentor role or whatever, I really don't see where they got to take him anymore. Like he's kind of had a full. Complete arc a couple of times where he's like dealt with a lot of stuff, and like him becoming Professor Hulk, that's the entire arc of Bruce Banner, where like he goes from being angry, being separated, now like he accepts every part of it and he's together with it now. Like I don't see where they go for him personally unless he steps into like a mentor role type of deal. I think it's a good place. I think Hulk's been left in a great place.
I agree with you because we've seen like the struggle. The first kind of struggle, then we've seen like the strength of both parts. Then we've seen Hulk without Banner, and then we see Banner without Hulk, and now we've seen them both combined and living like Jing Jang together, and that's it. I feel like, of course, Avengers and the Marvel stories needs a tank. Like as a D&D player, I know that we need a tank.
Yeah.
A big fucking tank in the middle.
This is the point I'm trying to make. You do.
Yeah, exactly.
You need it. You need it. Like the fans want to see it. We need.
Yeah, but we don't need Hulk for it. We can bring in someone else. We can give that character to someone else. I mean, for all I care, Captain Marvel could be it. Yeah. In that sense, she's strong. She's not the smartest. She just like goes straight in. She's the barbarian in that sense.
Yeah.
Not the smartest.
I mean, she's not. I mean, if she would have been too overpowered, to be honest.
True. Yeah.
because she can do whatever. She can fly. She's super strong. She's basically invincible. But if she would have had like Tony's brain, she would have been so overpowered.
That's what you're saying.
I think we're at a really sweet spot right now, in the whole universe, because what could potentially happen is, something like that version of Banner could go into the future, and then you could start up a whole kind of like Old Man Logan style thing where he like takes over part of the Earth, and then you could have a different Earth version of Banner brought in where he's still kind of the Smash Hulk, like the kind of angry one where he has the proper split personality. I think they have a lot of ground now where they can just start pulling characters, and I really think that they might start bringing back characters that have died. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we got a different version of Black Widow back, after she's gone for a little bit. We get time to grieve her absence. The actress gets to go and do some other things, and it's like, hey, I want the payday again. It's like, bring me back from the multiverse, like easily done. Or they do like a Captain America movie with the stones, and then you figure out that actually he did save her when he returned the Soul Stone, and she just went to a different timeline. I think there's a lot of timeline stuff coming. I think the Loki show, we might actually get our first taste of it. I think he'll go to like an alternate universe where he might actually see her. Or he'll see an older version of Hulk or something like that, and then maybe timelines may cross or something like that. It's
but I mean, again, in Loki's timeline, nothing has happened. It's basically 2012 all over again.
Well, as we saw in the trailer, you see the timeline and it's branching off into it's splitting and branching. So he's got to he's got to go and try and fix all that. So I think we're gonna have a real opportunity for that sort of stuff. A lot of stuff coming out this week as well, just kind of while we're talking about that, but about the multiverse of madness, the Doctor Strange film. There's apparently some people have said close to the MCU that they've got concept art for Ghost Rider in the MCU. Apparently he's going to appear in the multiverse of madness, and it makes a lot of sense. Obviously his powers come from the Darkhold, so the fact that Wanda's going to probably be the villain or anti-hero in that film, and obviously he's going to be drawn to the power of the Darkhold and so on, so it makes sense. Now whether they actually go to his timeline, like there's rumors of it being the Nick Cage version, but I don't know if it's actually going to be Nick Cage himself. Like it's going to be his character, but I don't know if it's actually going to be him. I think they probably should do it that way. I just think it'd be so much funnier, because I know there's like talks of Hugh Jackman returning for that film as well, and they're going to be going to like the Old Man Logan universe. Like Doctor Strange is going to be how I'm picturing it in my head is like kind of like an 80s montage, him just bouncing around through all the multiverses, and he'll stop in for 30 seconds, say hi to Logan, then he like zaps off and goes to the next one, and it's like, oh shit, no, I'm not in the right one. Oh shit, here's Ghost Rider, there's Nicolas Cage and all. I think it's just they're just gonna bounce around and around, and
that's crazy, bro.
We're just gonna get to see. It's gonna be like just absolute nostalgia all over the place. Like, yeah, it's gonna be.
If they bring in dude, they bring Nick Cage's thing back, I don't even know what to think, bro. Like, I don't know. That's just so bizarre.
Oh, so bad. But at the same time, it's like last week, for example, when we were like rewatching Captain Marvel. I kind of saw a new kind of relevance to Captain Marvel now that the Skrulls are more explained and they're more into like woven into the storyline. And that movie kind of meant a little more to me this time around. And I think, like, I've always said, even if they kind of make, like, I was saying this about DC the whole time, if the Snyder Cut is incredible, it then kind of saves the other movies a bit. It brings them up, like, it carries it with them, like, so. Yeah. I really think that, like, you do something like the whole, like, talks of like Spiderman and the Spider-Verse and Madam Web and all this stuff, where she's going to do like a kind of Secret Wars with the Spider-Man, like that's all in talks, and then something like that happens, and then you kind of go, fuck, I want to see more Andrew Garfield, I want to see another Toby movie, and it just kind of, again, even like after watching that, you're kind of going, oh, Spider-Man 3 with Tobey that bad? Like, and you know it is, but you know it is. But at the same time, you want to see more. I just think it just carries it all straight back to the top. And apparently what Sony are trying to do is they want to build their own Spider-Man universe, but they've given, obviously, the green light for the MCU, or to give their characters to the MCU. So what they're doing is they're kind of getting Marvel to drag them out of the dirt, basically. So they're getting those characters like Doc Ock and Norman Osborn and all these people brought into the MCU. Everyone loses their fucking minds because it's going to be the best thing ever. Like, this will be better than Endgame, I guarantee you. And then what they do is they all go back when they fix it in about a year. They'll go back in.
Marvels?
No, I have not. Can you imagine Norman Osborn, Willem Dafoe as the main enemy from a different universe coming into the 616? And, like, you know, finding the Norman Osborn of the 616, trying to corrupt him. Then you've got, like, Alfred Molina coming in, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, all this shit. Like, bro, it's going to be the most insane movie ever. And then Doctor Strange is playing a pivotal.
Better than Endgame.
Yeah, I really do. I think so. I think it's setting up something so much bigger than Thanos.
You're setting the bar this high right now.
Like, I know. It's only going to disappoint.
I guarantee you.
I'm super positive, and this is super high for me.
Yeah, no, I am 100% on this. This is what's going to happen. It is going to be fucking bonkers. Oh, that's actually.
Think Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse is going to show up just animated? Just walks in. What am I doing here?
That'd be cool, actually. Like, an animated version of him shows up just like, whoa, I am in the absolute wrong universe here. I love that. Yeah, some people were like saying like, you know, the version of Spider-Man that we have in the 616 is kind of more like Miles than he is like Peter, nearly. Like, there's more kind of like, he kind of mirrors Miles more from the comics, and that kind of makes a lot of sense. But I think what they're going to do, like, because they don't really have the whole Uncle Ben story, and he's still kind of green as grass, so I think what they'll do is they bring all the Spider-Men in, and then one of them dies, and I think it'll be Tobey, because he's been such a fucking pain to get on this film with all the contract negotiations and stuff, that I think he'll die. But I think the Spider-Men are going to hang around for quite a while. So what you're going to have is you're going to have Spider-Man 3, they get introduced, then they're going to actually hang around in the MCU for a while. They'll be in Doctor Strange 2, and then there'll be an event where Strange fixes the multiverse, and those guys go back. But then you find out that, because there's rumors of Sam Raimi getting a Spider-Man 4, so then after Tobey goes back and all the hype's built up, everyone thinks Tobey's the coolest fucker in the planet, he goes back and then he gets his own movie. Boom. And then fucking Andrew Garfield goes back, and then you find out he's actually the Spider-Man for Tom Hardy's Venom. Because
I don't see this. Like, I'm not saying it wouldn't be good if it happened. I just don't see it happening.
It would be incredible, bro.
You're telling me we're going to have 3 Spider-Mans,
yes,
and 4 if you include Miles, and you know, the Spider-Verse sequel,
100%,
going to be saturating the movie market. Like, I just don't see the powers that be letting it out there, because I think they're just diluting it so much to a point that people are like, oh, another Spider-Man movie. Who really cares? We do, right? We're nerds, but we're not the main driving force behind all this. I think what we're getting, if you start splitting it off like that too much, you're getting to a point where people stop caring about the MCU. They stop caring about the Superman movies. And I already see it with all these other, you know, superhero media coming out, like that Jupiter's Landing or whatever. Like, there's just all this superhero stuff, and I think it's gonna wear it thin. I think they're gonna wear this thing out.
I would have said that before they released Into the Spider-Verse. But Into the Spider-Verse was taken and received so well by everybody. Even, like, little kids, like, fucking... My 7-year-old watches that film and loves it. He knows nothing about Spider-Man. He's like, whoa, there's all these Spider-Man, it's amazing. Like, I understand what you're saying, and I think a few years ago, I think you would have been 100% right, but I just think with the way everything's going now, they're pushing so hard for timelines in the multiverse now. Like, I fully believe we're going to get Chris Evans back. He's, like, pretty much confirmed to be returning to the MCU. I don't think it's going to be as Steve Rogers. I think we're going to get, like, Hydra Cap or something like that. It's going to be something different. I think that's where they're going now. It's where the comics went.
But do you think it will be for series, or do you think it will be for full movies?
I think he has one more appearance, and then a possibility of more after, depending on how it goes, is what I've read. And I think what's probably going to happen is he might return in Cap 4, but as a different version of Steve Rogers, or like Hydra Cap or something like that. He won't actually be Steve Rogers, because if you return him as Steve Rogers, then the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was all for nothing. There's no relevance to it whatsoever. What do? You give Sam the shield for half a film, and then Chris Evans comes back in and just goes yoink. I don't think so. I think you bring him back, but he's not himself. And you could do the same thing with Tony Stark. Like, you bring Robert Downey Jr. back, but it's a different version of him. Like, the way they had during like Secret Invasion and all the Secret Wars and stuff, they had like all these different multiverse versions of different characters coming in. So I think that's where they're going. Like, it's been well documented that Feige is going by the source material of the comic books, and that this is the natural progression of it all. Like, Spider-Man went to the Spider-Verse. That's where it went. That you've got Venom and all now. Toby had his Venom. It was Topher Grace. And I would normally say that, yes, you could just retcon some stuff, but they're bringing Melina back. So, and apparently he's being literally plucked from his last scene in Spider-Man 2 straight into the MCU. Like, Alfred Molina has said that. And, so at the end of Spider-Man 2, he's like sitting in a river somewhere. I can't really remember the storyline. I haven't seen it in so long, but apparently his story literally continues from there. And that movie was in 2002 or something, or 2004. So, it's
a little older.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of said that, but they were like, their official answer was, "Did you not see Sam Jackson in Captain Marvel?" It's like, we got you, bro. It's all good.
I'm excited for it. It's all big stuff. If they actually pull it off, if it works well, I'm excited for it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just as nervous for the multiverse as I was for WandaVision.
Yeah.
And I was, the same. I had the same feelings where I'm like, I don't know about this. This is kind of like out there. It's a high wire act if they're going to be able to land it, and I don't think they did on the WandaVision show.
Yeah.
So I hope they are able to for Spider-Man. But it feels like there's a lot. It feels like there's a lot that they're trying to do if all the rumors are to be believed, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, like, I know there was, do you remember in the Morbius trailer, there was that spray painting of Spider-Man, and it was like murder and stuff. So that trailer was actually released when, do you remember when there was those kind of Sony versus Marvel wars for Spider-Man, and everyone thought we were going to lose Spider-Man, and Tom Holland was going to lose his job, and they were going to rip the character out of the MCU. So apparently that was launched at that point where they were Sony were trying to claw back the character, so they put him in that trailer. And then obviously Sony and Marvel came to their agreement, so they're allowed to kind of cross use all of these characters. But the end goal of that is that they kind of loan these characters to the MCU. MCU gets to do all their multiverse stuff, and then they go back. So what people are saying now is that it was kind of presumed that what would happen is when they launch a kind of Spidey versus Venom movie, which is apparently in the works now, but people aren't so sure now. Is it actually going to be Tom Holland, or is it going to be Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire? Like, now it's like there's actually an option for a couple of different Spider-Men to show up, and I really think it's not going to be Tobey. I really think it's going to be Andrew, because Tobey had his Venom, and I think Andrew didn't. So I just think it would be absolute poetry if Spider-Man shows up for the very first time at the end of Venom 2 or even Venom 3 or whatever, and it's actually Andrew Garfield. Oh, bro, I have that makes me excited.
Andrew Garfield?
I didn't like the second movie, was horrendous, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm just looking at the character, I really liked how he played Peter Parker. I liked the Spider-Man suit. I loved the CGI and that, like. If you break,
he had the best suit, right?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, beautiful. And if you break down like the CGI and the fight scenes, Andrew's movies were probably the most stunning to watch, to be fair. Like CGI wise and like choreography wise. That second movie was just atrocious. Like, I hated Electro. I didn't like the storyline at all. It was awful. But the first movie wasn't bad. I liked the Lizard. The Lizard kind of looked a bit cheesy, but I loved the character of Doc Connors. I liked Gwen Stacy. Obviously, I thought Emma Stone, sorry. I thought she played the character brilliantly, and I'd love to see her return. She was meant to be in Spider-Man 3, but she's apparently heavily pregnant during the filming of it, so she couldn't actually return for it. So they're gonna, I think, right around that. But I think she is due to return and potentially become Spider-Gwen. So, again, more kind of multiverse stuff. But yeah, apparently that was on the cards. But she was heavily pregnant at the time, so couldn't actually do it. But yeah, I really like Andrew. I feel sorry for Andrew because his timing just wasn't great. You know, they kind of got the first movie out. I thought the first movie was great. I loved the whole like kind of POV shots of him shooting through the city. You know, like I remember the first time seeing that, I was like, holy shit! Like, you know, where they do like the first person and you see like the web coming out of the shooter and stuff like that. Like I thought that was incredible. Like I'll never forget sitting in the cinema going, whoa! Like that was like so immersive. And again, I loved him as Peter Parker. I didn't really like the story with his parents, that his parents had such a importance.
Awful.
Yeah, really bad. Didn't like that at all. I liked that. What was his name? Martin Sheen, was it?
Yeah,
Charlie Sheen's
Martin
dad.
Sheen was great.
Yeah, he was good as Uncle Ben. I thought he was really good, and the Aunt May was pretty good as well. Yeah, there's a lot I liked about those movies, but the main bits that you kind of remember were a bit stale, you know, and that's not really Andrew Garfield's fault either. I thought he was an amazing Peter Parker, I thought. So yeah, that was
he was.
Yeah.
But if we talk like licensing rights, do you think that Sony had like a demand toward Disney that if you want to buy the licensing right for Spider-Man, you have to also include the old rights so they become canon into?
I think that's the main goal. Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to merge the two studios together, and so that Marvel basically rescues that Sony verse. Basically, I think that's what they're trying to do, and I think it's a very intelligent way to do it. You know, you bring these people into the MCU, which is, you know, even in their worst day is still a powerhouse, and you're bringing characters back that some people absolutely love, some people maybe didn't, but when you bring them into the top tier. Like, can you imagine, like, Andrew Garfield acting beside Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch and all these people, and then it's like, right, okay, the storyline ends and Andrew goes back, but you're kind of like, fuck, I want to see more. Like, I know I would definitely want to see more of Andrew after that, and if that's him going into, if that's him going into a Spider-Man versus Venom movie, then where maybe the two of them team up to have to defeat Carnage or something, like, sign me up, man, sign me up, take my money.
Yeah,
like that is just bonkers. Like, and then you make Tobey Maguire Tom Holland's Uncle Ben, you have him die at the end, and then, you know, that's his kind of, you know, Uncle Ben story. I know people are saying that, you know, Tony Stark is his Uncle Ben story, but
dare you take it away from Stark like this?
I don't know. I think Stark had much more importance than being like Tom Holland's Uncle Ben. Like, you know, his death was a shatter to the entire universe. It wasn't just like Tom Holland, like, you know. Like, I don't really care that Tom Holland's upset in Far From Home that Tony's dead. Like, you know, it's just like, I just don't, like, you know, obviously it's sad and stuff, but I'm just like, you know, get on with it, bro.
If Tony's not important to dying, or like, how would Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man be important to Tom Holland's dying? Well, I just they just meet 2 hours later. We're like, oh, he dies, and like, I don't think there's an emotional connection there.
I don't know. I kind of see that, like, it goes down the same storyline as Into the Spider-Verse went. Like, you know, like how Miles connected with the Peter B. Parker so instantly. The two of them just connected, and it was like a kind of mentor-mentee thing. I think that's exactly where it goes. So you get Tobey coming in. Tom goes, oh my god, I'm not the only Spider-Man. Like, you know, I think obviously, you know, Tony kind of warmed to Peter as the movies went on, but like, he was very cold to him at the start, and like, you know, he didn't really bother kind of showing up for most of the thing. Like in the first Spider-Man movie, it's like, you know, he doesn't even bother. He just rings the FBI, like when he's fighting Vulture, who's like a massive villain. Like, it's like, yeah, we'll just ring the FBI, it'll be fine. Like, he doesn't really give a shit. Like, I know they kind of have a bit more of a bond as we go into Infinity War and stuff like that, but at the same time, I think it hits so much harder when he sees an older version of himself from a different timeline that's like, shit, this guy's been through everything, this guy is me. Or, you know, he sees him as kind of the mentor, and then it's like, Toby sacrifices himself at the very end of the film to save Tom Holland and to save the multiverse. And I just think that really hits home, because it's Tom basically looking into his own future, you know. I just
but
think
I mean,
that
Tom Holland's Spider-Man has been like withstanding so much more pain and so much more difficulties than Andrew Garfield's or Tobey Maguire's. Apart from Ben dying, of course, I mean, like the whole Endgame saga and so on, and I mean, in the end of Homecoming, like being outed to the rest of the world. I feel like Tom Holland is basically more of someone for Andrew Garfield's and Tobey Maguire's character to look up to, rather than the opposites. Like when it comes to story-wise of the past, we don't know what happens in the next movies, of course, but like when we look into the present, I mean, Tom Holland has been through way more stuff than those two Spider-Mans, so to say.
Well, I think Toby's version of Spider-Man, like, he's supposed to be like, you know, the kind of like mature Batman style guy, like where, like, you know, it's like Dark Knight Returns sort of, like, you know. And I think Andrew's guy is meant to be, you know, Peter in his late 20s, early 30s. So I think as those movies go on, I think when you see them next in the MCU, they're going to have a lot more wisdom and a lot more knowledge and a lot more like battle scars. And I just think that Tom is very much so the kind of Miles of Into the Spider-Verse. He's still kind of learning his powers. You know, he's inherited all this stuff from Tony, but he's not really a leader yet, you know. And I think he has a lot to learn, and I think that's a really good way to get him to kind of learn these things. You know, you'll have him, maybe you have the older Spider-Man teaching him about, like, you know, his spider sense and stuff like that, because you don't really see much of that, and like his kind of abilities and stuff like that. And he relies so heavily on the Stark tech that I just think, you know, a little bit of Spider-Man is lost nearly, because he's turning into a bit of an Iron Man if he doesn't have the suits. Like, I know he says, like, you know, in the first Spider-Man, like, oh, my suit is, like, I'm nothing without the suit. And Tony Stark has the absolute audacity to say, if you don't, you know, you don't deserve to wear the suit then, like, you know, like, he is literally nothing but a suit, like, himself. I always thought that line was hilarious. Yeah. If you can't be a hero without the suit, you don't deserve the suit. It's like, Tony, take a look at the mirror there, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You are nothing without that suit.
Literally, you're dead without this.
Nothing. You are snapped in half without that suit. Like,
yeah.
So.
I don't know. There's a lot of rumors out there about what this is going to be, and it'll be interesting to see how they tie this to the end of, you know, Far From Home, where, you know, the whole deal is he's in New York, and they're like, this is who you are. And, like, how do we fold that into, like, a multiverse? Like, does that end of that movie even really matter going forward? Like, you know, it just...
I think what happens there is we're going to go into Spider-Man 3 probably directly from Far From Home. So, like, the two of those are going to be, like, a back-to-back almost. And what's going to happen there is, apparently, in the comics, how it was done anyway, was... Doctor Strange made cast a spell on the globe to make them forget who Spider-Man's secret identity was, and in doing that, he breaks the multiverse. So I think Wanda...
That's ethically gray, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I just think, like, I think he thinks that, like, you know, he's so powerful and that he can just go, right, I'll cast a spell, everyone will forget the identity of Spider-Man, and then boom, it's done. Or you could have the flip side of it where, and again, this kind of reigns back them bringing in more than one Spider-Man. Maybe Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man dies, and then the world kind of sees that happen. They're like, oh shit, Spider-Man's dead or something. And then, like, they're like, well, you know, Tom Holland can't be him because he was sitting in a courtroom while this was happening. Or, like, you know, you get Andrew Garfield to swing by the courtroom while Tom Holland's sitting there, and it's like, well, there's Spider-Man outside, you know, and then it's like it kind of frees him that way.
Yeah. Man, I feel like it's kind of what Nat's saying. I feel like you're hyping yourself up too much. I feel like you're setting it too high.
Yeah, I'm just going.
We're going in a WandaVision story situation where it's like the stories the fans are making is going to be way better than anything they're able to deliver. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I just think there's too many kind of like casting confirmations and stuff like that. Like that, I just think so much of it is there now. Like, we know Alfred Molina's in it. We know that Jamie Foxx is in it. We know all the, like, they're building a Sinister Six from the Sonyverse. We know Willem Dafoe's in it. We pretty much know Andrew Garfield's in it, even though he's kind of like saying that he wasn't, and then coming back and saying, oh, you know, yeah, it could possibly happen. He kind of reversed on himself a bit. So we just know that he knows that, you know, we know that he's lying. So it's like, you know, and then there's all the shit with Toby and the negotiations with contracts and stuff like that. Like, so for him to come out and say, yeah, I'm not in it, or I haven't been approached, is just ridiculous. Like, so I I just think with everything that we know so far, like an idiot could write a script that's going to be amazing, you know. And I just think that Feige is so good at following the source material that it can't be bad. It can't. Even if it's like the worst version of what I think it's going to be, it's still going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, the source material hasn't always been the best, you know? The comics are hit or miss sometimes, you know? Like, as much as people love Falcon Winter Soldier or whatever, Falcon does turn the shield back over because the source was like, oh, we got to give this back to Captain America.
I think the comic books kind of work a little differently, don't they? You know, like no character is ever truly dead, and I think, you know, they kind of try something in a comic run, and the comic runs end up like, you know, like back in the day, you got one issue a month, so if it was like a 24 issue like series of a story, it runs for 2 years, like, so I just think like it feels like you're seeing like a black Captain America for so long, but really it's only like 20 issues and then it's back to Steve Rogers, you know. But in the real world, it takes so long for us to get to that point to read that much content. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like they killed Alfred in Batman in the comic books, and he's dead, gone. They even tried. There's a storyline where Bane tries to turn him into like a zombie or some shit. Like he tries to revive him, like using Lazarus water, but he ends up like going all weird, and then he ends up dying again. So it's like, okay, Alfred is dead, but I can guarantee you in like a year or two, like I'll tell you the day it happens. The day I read it, I'll be like, guys, Alfred's back. You know, like something will happen where they'll bring him back. Like the characters never truly stay dead in the comic book. So I just think like
us comic fans are children. Like we can't handle change at all.
Yeah,
like, we can't.
Yeah, like there's
I would like just make a new character. No one reads the new characters, okay, children. Like pick up a new comic book. Like
yeah, like you've ever like Marvel fans have been reading Steve Rogers since the actual World War II. Like, you know, so it's just insane. Like, yeah, 100%. Yeah, we kind of went off the bat where we kind of finished talking about Iron Man. I don't really.
Well, didn't we really finish about it? We talked about like one character, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how we got to where we were. Someone mentioned Loki or something, and then it went into timeline shit and all.
You know, the timeline where Spiderman comes up, and we'll like see you guys in a half hour. It's like Finto's going down the Spiderman rabbit hole for us.
Although, like, honestly, I can't wait for it to happen. It's gonna be great.
I would say Iron Man 1, the villain Iron Man 1, Obadiah might be my favorite MCU villain of all time. Like, first off, Jeff Bridges kills it. Like, phenomenal. Jeff Bridges is money. And there's just something about him, like the whole corporate entity side of it, the arms dealer side of it, him becoming Ironmonger. Like, it's just so good, man. Like, from front to, like, it's the best villain they've ever put in outside of, like, maybe Thanos or something huge like that, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And sorry to harp on about the behind the scenes footage and stuff like that, but if you go and watch on the first one, there's a rehearsal clip of Robert Downey Jr. and Jeff Bridges, and they're in like what looks like a kind of like a hangar or something, but it's a really weird scene where the two of them are just kind of bouncing ideas off each other, and Favreau's standing in the back, and they're just like, it's really weird. They're like just like shouting ideas at each other, and I was watching it, my girlfriend was sitting beside me, and she's like, I don't understand what we're watching right now. And I was like, you're watching the creative process happening. Like the two of them are bouncing stuff off each other and ideas and how they're going to shoot the scene, and then as they're kind of just doing this kind of ramble, they click and they go into character. Like Robert Downey Jr. just starts talking like Tony, and then Jeff Bridges just goes into character, and I was like, I'm watching it, like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, it's just crazy. They're such talented bastards. It's not even funny. Like, it's mental. But yeah, I highly recommend to everybody, if you have Disney Plus, go in, watch all the little clips. There's loads of little really cool deleted scenes and like breakdowns of how they did certain things. There's like on Iron Man 1, there's like a 10-minute clip where it's like Iron Man in the real world, and they kind of go through how they made all the suits and do all the special stunts and stuff like that. And it's like, to me, I don't know if that interests you guys, but to me, like, I love watching all that stuff. I love watching how movies are made, and I really like, in Ireland, it's not really a thing massively over here. It's not a common thing to get into like film production and stuff like that. Like, we don't have many actors and stuff like that make it big. Like, but I wish that was something. I know it's kind of a thing, like theater and school and stuff. That's not a thing over here. Like, you know, you don't go, you would only study that stuff in this country if you grew up in it or had like, you know, someone that you knew, an uncle or something that acted or something like that. Like, you know, it's not something that's taught in school or anything like that. So like, and I really think I've taught this for a long time. For me, like, film is always like a special subject. Like, I can always kind of, like, I can't remember shit when it comes to like math and stuff like that, like, but I'll always know the like actors' names and stuff like that, like, and just weird shit, like, you know, oh, I know who directed that movie and I know who produced that movie. Like, I just think stuff like that fucking just sits in my head. It's just such a special subject for me, and I just think if I had gotten a chance to kind of work in that, I would have loved it, like, and I think I would have been really fucking good at it as well. But is what it is.
What do you think about Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2, like, I don't know how you guys feel about Iron Man 2, but Iron Man 2 to me is a bit of a hit. Like, I like the movie. There's a lot of people that like don't like the movie, and I kind of find it a bit weird. Like, I know Mickey Rourke is a cool dude. Is he an amazing actor? Probably not. You know, but like, he's a bit cheesy, right? But
no, you cannot get away with that one, sir. Mickey Rourke's kind of an all-right actor.
I don't think he's great. I don't think he played the character.
King of New York?
In this movie, I don't think he was an amazing character, okay?
Okay.
And I think this is the kind of common consensus of the film. People don't like him as the character. As I said, I have no problem with I don't have no problem. But I just think that was the kind of common consensus. Like, I love Justin Hammer. I thought he's hilarious in it.
Yes.
And
Sam Rockwell like kills it as Justin Hammer, man.
Yeah.
He is underutilized in the MCU. They have to bring him back.
I think they do as well.
He is amazing.
Like, Hammer Tech is a big thing in the comics and stuff like that. Like, you know, like Pym Tech, Hammer Tech, and AIM and all these places. I'd say maybe now that we have like TV and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw like an Army Wars, for example, or Armor Wars, that you have Hammer Tech coming back for that. Like, I would be shocked if he didn't make an appearance for that.
Right.
But yeah, like, I love Hammer. I think the comedy between him and Tony's brilliant. Like, the back and forth. Like, I love the bit where they go to Monaco or whatever, and you know, like, she's like, oh yeah, take her right to piece on me. And he's real cocky and all, and then Tony walks in and she's just gone. Like, you know, it's just and he's like, yeah, you're right, the piece on me, babe, and all. Like, you know, he's such a cheesy fucker. And did you notice as well, I don't know, like, his fake tan, he's wearing like loads of fake tan in the movie. And like, as the film goes on, there's that bit where he's in the hangar, and like, his hands are like black because like, you can just see it's like paint. It's like he's been painting or something. There's so much fake tan on his hands and all, and it's really that scene always like really disturbs me, like, because it's just like, I just feel dirty looking at it, like, because I just want to wash my hands so often, like, you know. But he's fantastic. Like, he's so good. And
yeah,
I don't really like Rhodey in that film. I think I hated Rhodey, like, kind of from there onwards. I think I just hate how he takes the suit and just like takes ownership of War Machine without even Tony's consent and gives it to the American government. And I'm like, what? Like, Tony's your friend. Like, you know, he hasn't given you this fucking suit. You went to his house, beat the shit out of him, and took it and gave it to the army. Like, that's that's what happens. Like, you know, and like, even Samuel L. Jackson's just like, you know, Fury's like, so you let your boy beat you up, trash your house, and steal your suit. Like, you know, you're off the rails. What's going on? And it's just like,
well, they kind of imply that like Iron Man gives them implicit consent because like no one can use the Iron Man suit unless Tony Stark has them, you know, register with it or whatever they call it. So he was gonna give Iron Man or War Machine that suit. You know, he's able to use it. Like, if you know, anyone, if Hammer jumps in that suit, he's not gonna be able to use it. You know.
I agree. I think Rhodey was originally, you know, given a profile or however they want to call it. But like, Tony in that circumstance does not give him permission to take the suit, and especially does not give him permission to give it to the U.S. government and let Hammer Tech start adding shit to it. No way, bro.
Look, I've dealt with my fair share of addicts in my life, and they will run things into the ground because they're not strong enough to like tell you what they actually want you to do. Like, he wants them to do that, but he's just like, he's addicted. He's like, take it. He wants him to take it. He's giving it to him when he gets knick-knacked at that party.
There's a great deleted scene actually in the second film, and it's like an extended party scene, and he's got some girl and she's got the thrusters on it and she's shooting herself up into the air. He's like holding her legs up in the air and all, like, and it's just, that's like, funny. Rhodey's just like, come on, bro, what are you doing? Like, it's just like, It's so funny, dude. Like it's really good. Definitely watch.
But talking about the casting of Iron Man 2, did you know that Sam Rockwell was actually considered to be Iron Man? Like he was considered to be, instead of Robert Downey Jr. Instead of and also that Emily Blunt was planned to be
Black Widow
instead of Scarlett.
Yeah, that's been around. She was actually asked about that in a recent interview. That was one of the things I was going to talk about, kind of as we're kind of shooting shit later on, just for kind of little random news topics. That Emily Blunt was one of them, but yeah, I think I don't know. Like she said in an interview this week, she was on Howard Stern or one of these shows or something in the US, and she was asked outright, "Are you going to be Sue Storm?" And her response was, "I don't really like superhero movies." And she went and basically just shot all over superhero films. Now, I don't know if
that's not a no.
Yeah, so it's like if what she's doing is trying to just like completely throw people off by shitting all over the industry, very smart, because now no one believes that she wants to do it, and now no one wants her to do it either. Everyone's like, every forum I read or every like comment section I read on any post or anything to do with it, it's just like, get her the fuck out if she is any way connected to this project at all. Get someone in who actually wants to be involved, who is passionate about the project. Like, the last thing we want to do is have a third bad Fantastic Four franchise.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, the first one, while I have a special place in my heart because I saw it when I was young and it was cool and I loved Chris Evans and stuff like that, the movies were shit, let's be real. And then the reboot was fucking atrocious. Like, it was awful.
But those are all people who really love hero movies, you know? Brie Larson loves comic books and she doesn't make a great Captain Marvel, so maybe we need somebody like Emily Blunt who hates the genre, who can come in and like nail the performance because she actually like treats it in a certain way and she plays the character well. Maybe she's perfect for the role.
Maybe we don't know that,
because she's a great actress. If she plays the part well, if she looks like her. I don't care that she doesn't like the comic book genre. I'm not sitting across from her at dinner, you know what I mean? Like, have your own, your deal. If you get on screen and make a great performance, I'm into it.
Well, to be honest, I'm not 100% certain that Scarlett Johansson is the best Black Widow we have, honestly. Like, Scarlett, I mean, I love Scarlett and I love Black Widow, and I think they go well together, but, like, she is a bit of, like, awkward in some situations as Black Widow. And honest to God, I think that, like, given personal life and real life stories, I think that it would be great to actually have Elizabeth Olsen as Black Widow to start with. I mean, doing the ballet.
She would have been very. She would have been very young though in Iron Man 2.
I know, and that's a problem. But I mean, doing the ballet and doing the all the kinds of like physical activities before starting with acting, after doing the child acting, I think that kind of character would have been better as Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson. That said, I do love Scarlett Johansson's like take of Black Widow, but I wasn't certain that she would be the best Black Widow. I'm still not certain that she would be the best cast there is possible in the world right now.
I'm sure that if you had a long, hard think about it, and, you know, we kind of did that last week where we cast the Fantastic Four. I'm actually having trouble remembering some of the castings now, but, you know, I'm sure that some of those things that people said last week, I'm sure these people would have been better than, you know, Emily Blunt, or better than, you know, Jessica Alba, or any of these people, like, you know.
Yeah.
There's always better actors out there.
Yeah, because Scarlett Johansson is mostly cast due to her physical like attributes, and that's highly showed in Iron Man 2, and that's highly showed in like the first Avenger movies and so on. Like, it's her butt, it's her lips.
She's very much sexualized in Winter Soldier. That's for sure. That was the 100%. That was the heaviest one for sure.
Yeah, and that's toned down a bit in the later parts, and I love that.
Yeah.
But like, if we now, with the information we have, could have cast someone else, I think that we could have made a better choice than Scarlett Johansson.
Maybe. Yeah. I have no problems with Scarlett in the movies though. I think she's great. I can't now, because we've had her for so long, I can't picture anybody else in the role.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see how Florence Pugh does. She's a kind of up and coming actress and into that role, and she's going to be taking over as Black Widow. So I'm curious to see how there's a new kind of Black Widow played. I think that's very interesting. Did you know that she goes out with Zach Braff in real life, and he's twice her age?
I love Zach Braff.
Nice.
Fair,
man.
Fair play to him. But
I mean, I love Zach Braff. I would die for Zach Braff. My ringtone is fake doctors, real friends.
Oh my god, amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good, dude. Yeah, if you type !Eagle into my chat now, you'll hear Zach Braff shouting, Eagle!
Rachel Weisz is 100% going to be like Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie, right? Like, we're all agreed on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just like looking at her, I'm like, that's a really skinny Taskmaster. Like, Taskmaster, like, kind of a bulk dude.
Yeah, big jack dude. Can I
say about Iron Man 2's casting, though, before we move on from this? I really think Iron Man 2, when Happy and Pepper and Robert Downey Jr., I think that this movie really solidified them as like kind of a trio.
Yeah.
And the way they played off each other was probably the best parts of the movie.
Yes.
On the racetrack in the very beginning or whatever it was in the movie, wherever it was.
Yeah.
With the suit. Their chemistry between the three of them is just the most enjoyable thing on screen.
It's amazing. And to think that all branched out of Favreau just wanting to kind of have a little, like Z-list like appearance in Captain America in Iron Man 1 to turn around and actually be such a pivotal character in the entire MCU is just incredible. It was that second movie really like brought him to light, like, and I love Favreau, like I
his
think
face
when she's getting changed in the back and he nearly crashes the car. That's so good. Hilarious. I love that.
What I love is when Tony, they're in Pepper's office and he makes a joke about like not getting the kids in the divorce, and the Happy just goes like, he's just like,
yeah.
I fucking lose it every time, bro.
Oh, he's such a legend, bro. I love Jon Favreau, and then like I love him, and like I think he has already achieved legend status with the MCU just for giving us Iron Man 1 and 2 and being Happy, and now look, everything he's doing over in Star Wars is just incredible. Like, he's changing the universe. Like, it's insane. What an absolute fucking hero. Like,
he's the most important man in Hollywood.
I can't praise him enough, honestly. Like, if he turned around and said, look, I want 20 million quid to be in fucking Captain America 4 for 3 minutes, I'm like, give him what he wants. Just give it to him. Just get him in there.
What are we waiting on?
Like,
give him the money.
Just give it to him. Seriously. He'll be running Disney in 10 years.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. I'm not even joking when I say that. He will run Disney in 10 years.
Because he's over after Feige?
He has a foot in both MCU and Disney. Yeah. And I think you put him in charge of Disney, like, why not?
Yeah, that's true.
Why not?
That's true.
You make him the Kevin Feige of Disney as an entirety, because I know, like,
definitely their entertainment division.
Oh, 100%, yeah, easily.
Yeah. Because those rumors, there's always rumors that he's the one taking over Kathleen Kennedy's role. People who say Filoni should take over the Lucasfilm just need to go back to like their whatever job. Like he is not equipped to run a studio, but Jon Favreau could definitely run a film studio like Lucasfilm and like direct it and stuff. And I hope he does, because everything he's done in Star Wars so far has been great. He really took home on the idea that Star Wars is a Western at times, and he leaned into that and gave us the most enjoyable Star Wars that we've had in a decade.
Yeah, easily. And I think the beauty of Favreau is that Favreau actually, when he's with Filoni, the two of them are like the dream team. They're the dynamic duo. Like, I think you can't have one without the other. And I think you sell the two of them as a package. Like, you don't give Filoni any like crazy authority by himself. I think the two of them are a creative team, and you leave them together.
Yep.
I've been watching Bad Batch.
They're nerds.
Yeah, I've been watching Bad Batch, and like, I don't think Filoni has anything to do with Bad Batch. Or sorry, Favreau. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Filoni's baby. Like, it's his creation. And I respect Filoni's vision, because he stays very close to what George wanted, and he worked very closely with George. So I kind of trust where he goes with everything, but at the same time, he doesn't have that vision to do the above and beyond that Favreau has, and I just think that Favreau has all that movie making experience and stuff like that. Like, you know, Filoni's been working on animated stuff for years, and you know, there's a certain pacing to that sort of stuff. Like, you know, you don't have it's a different world when you're in live action, and I think Favreau has that nailed. And I just think that Filoni has his own like strengths, and I think just the two of them as a team, they just to be honest, I don't think they can do any wrong. Like, Ahsoka show is going to be incredible, Andor's going to be amazing, and this is just all them just working together, doing it right. And with Filoni there, I think they keep it very close to George's story and George's vision, and that's very important, because the second you take George's vision out of it, it just goes wild, and that's exactly what happened with the sequel trilogy. Like, that is exactly what happens when you don't have George Lucas giving you tips and ideas, like, you know. And I just think that's very important.
He needed the people around him that he had in the original Star Wars movies, because George Lucas, left to his own devices, is not the best. You know, like the prequels, while I love them just because I'm a nerd and I grew up on them. Yeah. They're not the best movies. Like, they're weak movies, and they're weak stories, like, all around. Like, I'm sorry, like, they have good themes in them for sure, but they're weakly edited. And so I think in that same vein, Filoni is really great for Star Wars, but he needs someone like Favreau around him who knows how to, like, really edit. Like, he knows what kind of, like, the masses want, right? Yeah. And I think when you hit that balance of kind of like pop culture type of deal and like real deep nerd stuff, like, you get what they're working on.
Yeah, 100%. It's actually George Lucas's birthday today. Funnily enough, we're talking about him.
Happy birthday, George!
Yeah. Happy birthday!
Well done. Happy birthday to the creator.
I feel like he should give me $1 million for his birthday. It'd be a great gift for him.
Well, like, is it the 14th or the 15th?
14th. It's like
today.
Okay. Yeah.
So I retract.
You missed it, yeah. Happy belated.
Yeah, I missed it.
From You're so rude.
Yeah, like, I just, like, even if you like, don't look at Star Wars but still take into consideration everything George Lucas has done for Hollywood, it's actually insane. Like, his companies have been so far ahead of the rest of Hollywood and the rest of the movie and gaming industry, everything. Like, everything we have today can be traced back in some way to George Lucas and to Lucasfilm. It's fucking insane, and I don't think people know that. I really don't. Like, I think all this, like, you know, stop animation and, like, all this, like the advances in gaming and everything is all through Lucasfilm and branch companies that Lucasfilm created. Like, all this stuff that he's working on now with, you know, the way that they have these new rigs for the Mandalorian and stuff like that, that was all created by Lucasfilm. And now, like, other studios in Hollywood are now, like, coming to them to try and buy that technology. And that's the way Lucas has always been. You know, they've always been on the cutting edge with regards to sound, lighting, everything, like, you know. And I just think, you know, if you take Star Wars out of it, George Lucas is still an absolute fucking legend in history. Like, he'll go down in history, like, as one of the greatest.
How old is he?
I'm not sure.
64.
I'm not sure. Is it? Did you check it?
No.
Okay, let's see. 64 drunk. I say 71.
Wow. Okay.
I'm saying he's 69. Nice.
Okay, he's 77, boys.
Let's go.
God.
Let's
what
go.
Else bro.
What a legend, man.
He's a good-looking 77.
He's a fucking legend, bro. He's a legend, and I respect the shit out of him. That, like, you know, when he made the first Star Wars movie, he goes on after that to try and make more Star Wars movies, but he is like, no, I'm not giving away, like, you know, control of my movies to studios and stuff like that. I'm not giving over creative control. Oh, and by the way, I'm keeping all the fucking marketing rights. And that had made him a billionaire. Like, you know, Star Wars became the biggest thing ever, and George Lucas hung on to all of those marketing rights, like, which is just insane when you think about it. Like, every fucking toy that got made, there's money going in George Lucas's ass pocket. Like, it's insane. Zaberwolf just says in the chat there, off topic, have you seen Favreau's show, the Chef Show, on Netflix? I actually have it in my start to watch because it looks really fun. It's just Favreau, like, going around in, like, a kind of food van, and he's cooking up food and stuff like that. And I know he does it during his movies, like during Spiderman and in Endgame and stuff like that, and Infinity War. He'll bring the cast out to restaurants and kind of places that he loves. Drunk, you'd love this shit, like, and it's just him. He's a big foodie, and he's just going out bringing cast members out, and like he'll do an episode of the show where he'll have like Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. and stuff like that, and they're all sitting in a restaurant, and he's like, I love the food here and blah blah blah. But then he also does parts where he's like cooking in small kitchens and stuff like that. Like it's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a Netflix
Yeah,
show.
I'm down to watch that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's
Got to cook cheeseburgers.
Ticking all the boxes. It's Favreau, it's food, like, you know, it's actors and all. Why not? I'm cracking another beer, guys.
I saw the movie. The chef movie was fantastic, which apparently is about his experience making the MCU movies.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's like an allegory for it, where he works in a fine dining restaurant, but really just wants to like make his own food and make all this like tiny stuff. He actually like wrote the script out to be kind of his experience in the movie industry.
Wow.
Can I plug something when it comes to food and Netflix?
Oh yeah,
please.
Yeah. Have you watched Somebody Feed Phil?
No.
No. Please watch it. Watch it. I beg of you. Please watch that series. It's the writer of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
Will
you do me a favor, because I know I will definitely forget about this tomorrow. Will you get like a trailer for it or something and throw it in Discord just so I won't forget it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sold this to my mother and to my friends and to like everyone close to me in Sweden, and everybody has loved it. No, I haven't sold it short to everyone because he is such a lovable guy. Like
who's in it?
It's Phil. Oh, I forgot names. Something Jewish, typical American last name.
He's is he a famous actor, like, or?
No, he's just a writer of Everybody Loves Raymond. He's a comedy writer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And he goes around the world visiting a city. The episode in Dublin is amazing.
Oh, let's go. I'm definitely going to watch that.
Yeah. Start with that, then you can watch. It's like 4 seasons right now, and then
you can kind of just like you can bounce around and jump in wherever you want.
He just eats food and visit culture, and he is just like, okay, so I'm meeting this like 3-star Michelin chef in this restaurant.
Yeah.
He is right there. Oh, this is a bunch of old ladies sitting at these tables. I'll talk with them instead. Yeah. And just like, he's so down to earth and casual, and just like, sometimes in these cooking shows, I feel like it's a bit like, you know, fake. But he is a real humble guy. Philip Rosenthal. Yeah. Thank you, Alex. That's the name. Rosenthal.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch that, and I will.
Watch Somebody Feed Phil.
100% watch the Dublin episode as well. I'm curious to where he goes, because it's probably a restaurant that I've been to, so I'd be very curious to see, because Dublin's not that big a place. So, sweet. I'm down for that, 100%.
Sorry for the plug, but yeah.
No, fuck that. That's what this is about. That's sweet. So yeah, just to go back to Iron Man 2 for a second. Obviously, big fan of Justin Hammer. I wasn't a big fan of Mickey Rourke. Obviously, I'm wrong, but I think
you're attacking Mickey Rourke as an actor.
Yeah, sorry.
His portrayal maybe is a little corny and cheesy, but Mickey Rourke is.
I love when his dad dies at the start of the movie, and he does that like stupid, like cheesy, like scream up into the air. You know, he's like, you know, it's like, what? Yeah. He's like, okay, bro, calm down. Like, but yeah, like I don't know. Me personally, like, there's not a lot of like, I haven't seen Mickey Rourke in anything that's been like mind blowing as a performance. Maybe I just haven't seen it, but what's it called? I loved it was the first time that you saw a kind of mobile suit, or like a kind of portable suit in Iron Man 2, in the scene with the racetrack. And I remember the first time I saw that, it was kind of like, whoa, that was so cool. And it was kind of explained in a behind the scenes thing that I was watching, but you know the way I kind of never thought about it, but you know the way in that fight scene, Mickey Rourke's kind of kicking the shit out of Tony Stark, and you're kind of like, how is he doing this? Like, wow, he's really smart. He has the tech that Tony has. But they kind of explain it when, I think it's Favreau talking about like the different generation suits, and he talks about the mobile suit from that thing, and he's like, from that movie, and he's saying that like that's the Mark III, I think they call it, and he's saying the Mark III is actually just a kind of temporary suit. It's a really kind of like stripped back kind of basic model, and which makes a lot of sense. It's in a briefcase, obviously. So at the time, I didn't really think about that, but you know, obviously, if you think about it, that it is just a kind of portable suit, then you know, Mickey Rourke's character would be able to kind of throw him around and stuff like that. So I just thought that was something that I didn't really think about when I watched it for the first time. I was kind of like thinking that it was like, you know, the villain kind of has to win the first encounter to make it more interesting. That how is he going to stop him, sort of thing. But it's very a practical reason as to why, and I thought that was very smart, and it's kind of goes again into the kind of beauty of those movies that they kind of tried to keep it to the real world in a way. Like, you know, Tony's an engineer and you see him stripping apart engines, and you know, he's very physical with his hands, and it would make sense with the level of genius that he is and the knowledge that he has as a mechanic and stuff, that he would be able to make these suits. It's believable, like, you know. So I think, and back to what you were kind of saying about the nano suits, I think it gets a bit ridiculous as it goes on. You know, I love in the first Avengers movie, you know, where he goes to confront Loki at the top of the Avengers Tower, and he comes in and lands on the thing, and he starts getting undressed as he's walking. I'm like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, you know, that was kind of the beauty of Iron Man. I don't think they should have gotten rid of that. Like, you know, now in Endgame, he's just pressing a button on his chest and he turns into Iron Man. It's just like, it kind of takes away
Green
from
Lantern, bro.
Yeah, like it is.
He just has like big arm, like just a shield comes out of nowhere.
It is. Like, it does with the nanotech. Like, and I think in these kind of like fantasy things, they always do kind of fall back on nanotech, don't they? Like, it's a kind of very common thing that they do, like, so that they can kind of do all this like mental shit that just doesn't exist in the real world, but then they can just go, oh yeah, he's using nanotech. Like, you know, it's always the kind of it's always the safety net. But I think I think the movie kind of lost something a bit when Tony started doing all that weird shit, like, you know, where in Civil War, where he goes to block the bullet from Bucky's gun and he just like, his watch turns into a blaster. I'm like, what? I'm like, how did he do that? Like, you know, it's like, it kind of gets ridiculous. Like, but I do miss the days of him like getting stuck in the machine in the first one. You know, he's like, you've seen me do worse things, like, you know, where Pepper walks in and he's like stuck trying to get out of the suit and stuff like that. Like, I think that's definitely some of the beauty of the originals.
Yeah. I miss being on the West Coast too, man. Like, too much of this is kind of based out of New York and the East Coast now. It feels good in Iron Man when you're in California and you got like the Malibu house. Like, there's a different vibe there that I'm kind of missing in the MCU.
Well, you get the Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's in San Francisco, that's true. But like, San Francisco is kind of, and I've been to San Francisco, like, so it's not the biggest place, San Francisco, and I kind of think it's, not to say that it's like run down or anything, but it's not as like fancy as like when you see California in the movies. Like, it's always like, you know, Malibu and stuff like that, and you know, Beverly Hills and stuff. But like, I think like San Francisco's a very like kind of normal, like working class.
Used to be a real working
class town. Like,
huge working class.
Yeah, so I think.
Well, I've never been to America yet. I will go eventually post COVID, but
you're gonna shoot some guns, brother.
Yes,
what
sir.
else besides New York and San Francisco and Los Angeles is there in the MCU?
New Jersey is one.
I guess Louisiana's a pretty established
state.
Yeah,
Louisiana in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and you get Captain Marvel goes there a little bit. So
yeah, Jersey is where isn't the
Marvel? Wanda
was in New Jersey, and then isn't the Avengers compound is upstate New York? Is that like Connecticut sort of area somewhere or something? That I don't think they really mention it, but they just say upstate or whatever.
Upstate New York. So.
Where's Wyoming? Where's Wyoming?
Out west.
Yeah, well, I know where it is. I know geography, but I mean, like, where's Wyoming in the MCU?
I don't think there's any. Is there references to it?
I don't know. I don't think they've ever really been anywhere outside of California, New York, or Louisiana. I think that's pretty much the MCU.
San Francisco as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's California area at least. Like.
Yeah, but they had Iron Man in LA, I suppose, and then I think that's it. Like, they don't. There's not too many like really random characters in random spots of the country, which is actually quite strange when you think about it.
Yeah, they've been to fucking Riga before.
Yeah,
like Riga and Latvia. That's. I mean, it's like half the population of Stockholm. And Stockholm is tiny compared to any American city.
Yeah, I think that's because they can just like pluck you down in any kind of city setting and be like, "This is Latvia," and you're like, "Okay, like sure."
Actually, to be honest, do you know that a lot of scenes that are supposed to take place in Stockholm are actually filmed in Latvia because of
cheaper.
They look similar.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. Yeah. Well, like I like that they actually went for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They were actually in like Poland shooting scenes and stuff, weren't they? I think they were actually they were shooting scenes in Poland and stuff. So
that's nice.
I think it's cool that they actually
Poland is the sheep in Latvia, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's like Stockholm, Latvia, Poland.
I've been to Poland, and the company I work for have a bunch of offices in like Eastern Europe. So I've been to like Budapest and Bratislava and stuff like that. Like, and yeah, they're cool places. Prague is a very, very cool spot to visit. I would highly recommend if you're over that side of the world. Prague is definitely a beautiful city to go to, and it's cheap enough as well.
Prague is amazing.
Yeah.
And cheap beer.
Yes, absolutely. The casinos and all are just like so cheap, it's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, so I don't know, like I just think like there was a lot of good elements to Iron Man 2, but I just didn't really think that they had like the big bad, like the major villain. Like I think Mickey Rourke's character was like, you know, I understood why he was there. You know, his father was shunned by Stark, and you know his creative elements. Like it makes sense, and like that would be very much a real world story. I could see that being a real world story, but like I don't think there's any like kind of big epic fucking bad guy. Like, you know, I think you know, he's just a nerd like Tony, and he you know, hacks the tech and tries to take over the Stark Expo and stuff like that. Like, I just, if you kind of break that movie down into a kind of comic book movie, like, it's kind of a little flat in a sense, because it's just like, you know, it's a good movie. Like, you know, you get the intro for Black Widow, you get like War Machine and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that actually happens, which on the grander scale of things obviously have great importance moving forward. But that, if you just, as a standalone film, I kind of understand why people don't like it. I understand why it kind of scores low for people, but
it's a little too tongue in cheek at times. I think a lot of the music makes it feel cheap. Like they're just it feels dated. It feels more it feels more like a 2000s movies than Iron Man did.
Yeah.
Just a lot of the music choices. I was sitting there. I was like, what is this?
It's just AC/DC. It's an AC/DC. Like their official soundtrack was an AC/DC album. Like officially, like the official soundtrack for the album is just AC/DC, which I have no problem with. I have no problem. I love AC/DC. So like I to be honest, like I love that first trailer with like "Shoot to Thrill" by AC/DC. Like that shit for me just pops. Like I love it. But yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. And
there's some other stuff that's not like old rock and roll music. It's just like. Man, I'd have to pull the song and play it for you. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like it feels almost like an Austin Powers music going on. It's just very weird. But like I think Iron Man 2 gets a little bit too much hate, to be honest. Like I is it my favorite? No. I think Whiplash is a good character. I think he lacks scope. Where Iron Man like is such a smart character and so controlling. If you don't like bring villains against him who are like all encompassing, smart, they got the tech and they're menacing and they're looking like he's a very narrow villain, and I think that's what makes him feel small.
Exactly. But I think the backstory is the problem with that. Like the reason of like you need to pay for the death of my father is so overdone, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
and that's the reason basically why Mickey Rourke's character Whiplash seems like such a vague character, so to say, like, because Mickey Rourke is an amazing actor, Drunky. Like, he is amazing. Yeah, I love him in especially The Wrestler, but he seems bland in this role. I have to say, and that's basically down to the backstory, I think.
Yeah. Like, why does Tony Stark have to pay for what his dad did? It just feels. Well, like it could make sense, you could see it. It just doesn't hit as hard as I think they thought it would.
Alex should be on the show, basically. I saw what he wrote there. Alex, get on.
I like. Yeah, he's a good dude. I understand. Yeah, like Whiplash, like wasn't enough to run it on his own. I agree with what you're saying completely, Alex. Yeah.
But like Hammer should have been more mischievous and like onto a bigger plot. that was like dirtier than what he was, because he was just trying to make money at the end of the day, right? Like he just seems like a business guy.
But
And
I mean, if they had plotted the whole like MCU like timeline moment, it would have been too early to introduce bigger plots, so to say. Like, I'm angry at you because your father did this to my father. That was good enough back then. Like now, if they would have released a movie with that sort of like backstory, it would have been
Oh god, yeah. It would have
hated.
It would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we on Thanos level now. We need to go Galacticus or Mephisto or something like that.
Yeah.
To like top this now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We can't go back to the neighborhood villains, so to say, right now.
How good?
we'll see, because we got Taskmaster coming up. He's just a dude who like
Yeah.
happens people.
Yeah. He's like a
rate
male
Taskmaster.
version of Black Widow, really, right? He's
Yeah.
kind
No,
of like,
but I rate Taskmaster at least Thanos level.
What?
I think, yeah,
no way, bro.
almost. I mean,
He's just an evil. He's an evil Hawkeye. Let's be real. He's an evil
he's an
Hawkeye.
evil Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Rangers. I always play Rangers in D&D.
Yeah. Here's one for you. So I saw people kind of throwing this idea around. What would you think of a Avengers versus like Dark Avengers, as in like evil versions of themselves? So like, again, just to say you keep the multiverse open for a bit longer, like, you know, for a whole phase, and then, you know, you get evil Cap, like Hydra Cap versus you know, Tom Cruise as Iron Man, which is apparently in talks. Like, apparently he was in the running to play him originally, and now they're talking about, like, you know, if they were to do like a multiverse version of thing, they don't bring Robert Downey Jr. back, they bring fucking Tom Cruise in as a different, an alternate reality version of Tony Stark. Imagine that, like, two Avengers teams like beating the shit out of each other. Like,
I mean, they love it. They love it. But
yeah.
I would hate if it would be like the same actors playing against each other. So if they bring Tom Cruise in, I'm all for it. But it would be like
it's like a what if. It's like a what if thing. Like, you know, you kind of bring a what if cast in versus the original cast. I like that idea. Like, I like when you see like DC kind of mess around with that in the comic books and stuff quite a bit. Like, they have different like alternate reality versions of the Joker coming in, and different versions of Batman and stuff like that. Like, there's Batman characters, like there's Bruce Waynes that have the Speed Force, and Bruce Waynes that are like you know, mashed with Cyborg and stuff like that.
Okay, two things. I don't think that we could make it too complicated for the like couch watchers, so to say. Yeah, the normies.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Finto who really dwells into everything. We got me who buys everything, and we got Dranky who hates everything. But like,
it's my favorite.
Yeah. No.
We get the normies. I don't think we can make it too complicated. Like,
again, I understand what you're saying, but I always go back to Into the Spider-Verse. They brought that movie out, and it's just perfectly accepted by everybody.
Yeah, that's perfectly accepted by everybody, but it's just on the line. Just a bit more complicated.
If you were to talk to, you know, your brother's fucking girlfriend or something who isn't into comic books at all, and if you were to tell her back in 2003 about Thanos and the Infinity Stones, she'd slap you. She'd be like, well, "Get away from me! Like, what are you talking about?"
That's true.
MCU and Kevin Feige have an amazing talent of bringing it all together in one story and telling it to people and dumbing it down. I truly think, and I know you think that I'm insane talking about Dark Avengers and all this shit, but I truly see it in 5-6 years. You know, we won't be talking about Thanos anymore. We'll be talking about Galactus, and we'll be talking about X-Men versus the Avengers and all this sort of shit. Again, they just have free run now to just basically adapt any comic book that they want. They can literally go through the catalog and just go, okay, Avengers versus X-Men was amazing, let's just do a movie. Old Man Logan in the future timeline with, you know, Old Man Hulk and the whole like dominance of the US and all that sort of shit. Like, again, boom, make it a movie. It's just
Thanos was introduced during like 10 years.
True. But again,
I don't think they can make it too quickly. I think it will be too complicated.
But they won't. They'll spread it out. And now the fact that they have
Yeah, but then
TV,
if we talk about the things that you described, we have like things to 2040 right now.
yeah, that's what is probably going to happen.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And also, I want to bring up what Alex wrote. Fuck it, I can't wait for What If comes out. I said this during the last episode of WandaVision, during this podcast, and you were like, "Nah, What Ifs." I mean, you were a bit skeptical, but What Ifs is going to be the biggest thing of this year.
You think the biggest thing of the year? I don't think it'll be the biggest.
Well, series-wise, not movies-wise, but series-wise.
My faith is definitely shook in the shows. Our first 2 shows did not go well, and I think.
What do you mean not well?
Sorry, I'm talking to Drunky here because we're on the same page.
Doing all right.
They were good. No, as I say, I always say this. Marvel have set their bar so high that they only have themselves to blame. The bar is so high that when they make a show that doesn't pop, but it's still good, like we're talking Thor 2 here, we're talking fucking Captain Marvel, like the bottom of the barrel is still amazing when you take it as a movie. But when you're talking about it as part of the MCU collective, it's not good. And WandaVision, again, I will give WandaVision a lot of slack because of the pandemic, because of the rewrites, because of taking Doctor Strange out, all this shit. I'll say, look, you know, they made some mistakes. Was the show good? Yes, it was good. Was it amazing? Absolutely not. And I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier, again, they had way more of, like, with reshoots and cancellations and plot changes and all this shit. I think, again, they had a much more of an uphill battle. Did what we get, like, what we got, was it good? Yes. Was it amazing? Absolutely not. And I think...
Well, amazing given the circumstances.
I think they made... no, I wouldn't say amazing, but it was good. It was good, and I think it leads into Captain America 4, and I like it as a stepping stone. It's kind of like, as I say, I describe it as a DLC. You know, it's a good DLC. Do you need to play the DLC before you move on to the next game? No. But if you do, you get a good bit of benefit or value to it. But it's not what's it called? Like, essential. It's not essential viewing.
Yeah.
And I think if you were to take or have a normal fan that doesn't have Disney Plus and they watch Endgame and then they go into Captain America 4, I think it's going to make perfect sense that when you see Sam for the first time as Captain America, you're just going to take that presumption that, oh yeah, he was handed the shield, he's made a suit in between, and he's cool, he's Captain America now. And then
of course the Wakandans would make him a suit. Why wouldn't they?
Exactly. You don't need to know the story in between. So I really do think that while I enjoyed the shows, and again, if they were like 10 times worse than they were, I would still watch them. I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 4 years, so, like, you know, the bar is quite low. Like, I will watch anything MCU related. So the shows would have to do something awful for me to not watch it. It would have to be horrendous. You know what I mean? And horrendous.
I'll say this about the shows and them being mediocre. Like, we've had mediocre MCU stuff before and we survived, and but the thing that made it better is, even if you have kind of a bad movie, them bringing other characters in and connecting the universe inside of that makes it better. Like, you know, having this huge Marvel Cinematic Universe is what makes these movies great. And really, like, WandaVision just feels too siloed off. Falcon and Winter Soldier feels too siloed off. They feel too disconnected from the universes. Where they said they took out Doctor Strange. He originally was supposed to be in WandaVision, and Feige was quoted in an article, given an interview. He said, we didn't want to put Doctor Strange in because we didn't want her to get powers, and then a white male comes and explains to her powers. Well, like, who gives a, I guess some people care about that, but we lose Doctor Strange being connected to that show, which would have made the show pop and be amazing to have such a connection like that. In Captain and Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're in New York City. There's a big event in New York City. Why doesn't Spider-Man just show up to help out a little bit? Swings in. He says, "Oh, Cap, thanks for helping. I'm glad to help out, Cap." And swings off.
He just makes it smart.
That type of stuff just makes it feel so good.
we've always had that. Like,
Yeah, but
in the Netflix shows and so on. Like, why didn't like the New York gang do anything with Luke Cage? Or I mean, we've always had that.
Yeah,
that's why they're awful.
And I think
not awful, but that's why they feel like too disconnected.
But not everything can be Endgame.
No, it's not.
It doesn't have to be.
It's
but
not. It's not.
Like Falcon shows up in Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's not. I think.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is 100% correct, Drunky. I think they lost the kind of cameo vibe, and why do you?
Okay, I agree with that.
Why do you think that everyone was going so insane? Like, who's the cameo? Who is it? Who's going to be in? What Avengers showing up? Because we've had it for 10 years. Someone always shows up, and with WandaVision, Feige had came out exactly like Drunky said. When in the 7th episode, when Wanda the ad that's on TV when your one walks in to get the antidepressants, the doctor behind the counter was meant to be Strange. So that was actually meant to be Strange, and they changed it to a different actor.
So good.
How good would that be if she walked up and it's Doctor Strange behind the thing, handing her the Nexus, and then it's like the nod, you're a Nexus being, boom, like, it's incredible.
This
and
is the Sorcerer Supreme, the man who's in charge of the New York Sanctum, and there's a massive event going on, fucking 30 minutes to the north in New York, he doesn't show up? Like, it feels, as a nerdy fan, it feels not true. It just doesn't feel authentic.
Well, as well, I kind of watched New Rockstar's breakdown of it, and apparently Feige gave a lot of information on the fact that, when in the final battle, when Wanda throws up like the ruins and stuff, that was kind of just put out there, like, as if Wanda kind of learned it off the cuff during the fight. But in the original scenes, Benedict Cumberbatch's cameo was meant to be that it was meant to be him coming in, kind of teaching her about her powers and stuff. And I think that's why it turned out that they mentioned her being potentially more powerful than him. That was rewritten, I think, because they had originally brought him in, but then they don't have the kind of the teaching sequences, so it's like, it's like they've kind of rewrite it and make it stupid.
Going back to like the dilemma that Drunky brought up, like a white man coming in and teaching the girl like her powers.
I don't know if it's as deep as that.
But if we talk about that, just like hypothetically, wouldn't it be great if there was a girl having great powers, a white man comes in and tells her this is your powers, and she just like thwarts him, just like being so much stronger than him, just like, oh, you mean like this, and just like
that works. I would love to see
him, and then it's like, he's mansplaining, and she's like, yeah, fuck this, I know this, get the fuck out of here.
I think that works. That works so good, like that pops off, I think. And I think like
because then you get a jab, don't you? Like,
and then it kind
the
of
whole mansplaining culture.
It makes sense then as well to the natural progression of where it's going in the storyline, because obviously, Strange goes in, he tries to calm her down and talk her down and teach her some stuff, but then she knocks lumps out of him, and it's like, oh shit, like, you can't mess with her. I think that I think it's in 100% a lost opportunity. And like,
okay, I lower my grade from 8 to 7.
and then I think apart from them missing this kind of cameo culture that they built inside the MCU, if you like think about the writing, and this is something I found out, is they said they don't really have showrunners on this stuff. And so every episode, the directors have kind of more influence than on a typical show. And that explains a lot what went on with the writing of these things, where all the characters from show to show, or episode to episode, really feel different. Are we supposed to like this character, hate this character? Are they actually taking us on that, or do they have a different personality? The writing on these shows just, I don't think, held up as the best TV. And I know this is like, oh, this is just TV. Well, we had Game of Thrones that had amazing writing for like 5 seasons. Like, there is really great TV to be had and to be made. And I'm not going to accept that the MCU just makes mediocre like TV shows and I just show up for it. Like, if they want me to be there, they got to make good TV shows. They got to make these things written well, look well. It's got to transcend normal TV. And these shows were just, it felt like normal TV.
The fact that one of the writers of the show didn't know who Mephisto was really terrifies me.
Yeah.
Like how you can hire somebody to write for your company and they don't know their history. Like, you know, I don't claim to know. I don't claim to know a lot about Marvel, but I'm not going to be like, you know, applying for jobs to write shows for them. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I mean, like, if I understand if, like, in the hiring process they didn't know it, I can get that. But once you get the job, if I would say, like, I'm getting this job, I'm starting in 2 months, I would read the fuck out of everything.
God, yeah, you need to read House of M. You need to read everything that Scarlett Witch has ever been in. 100%.
Yeah, because
that's your job.
Like,
that's your job.
I want to hide secrets.
That's what you're
totally
being
open.
That's what you're being.
Fans.
Yeah, that's what you're being paid to do. You
exactly.
know, any actor that you see that plays a superhero role, like, you'll always see it. You know, I follow like Stephen Amell, for example, who played the Green Arrow, like, and when he got the role, like, you see him post on social media, like, he's buying all the comic books, he's reading all the source material, and same.
Love to see that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and same with, like, your man who played Punisher. Like, he puts up like, his announcement to the world that he was going to be Punisher was a picture of him sitting reading, like, one of the hardbacks for the Punisher. Like, and it's like, you know, these guys go and they do their homework. You're getting paid. It's like the same as training for a movie. Like, you know, you're Chris Hemsworth. You're being paid to be Jack. Like, you know, you need to. If you're a writer for a show, you got to know your fucking source material. You know,
exactly. And I have no problem with people not knowing it before they start the job.
Yes.
Like, I don't give a fuck, but at least you know it when you're doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
And, like, do you need to deep dive every story that Wanda's ever been a part of? Like, no. But, like, you don't know Mephisto? I like 10 minutes on Wikipedia will take you down a rabbit hole that gets you to Mephisto. You know, like, exactly. It's not that deep. Like, it's her kids are from Mephisto. Yeah. That's like surface level.
The first page, like, of anything you read on that storyline is about Mephisto. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Like, I know Dominic Purcell, he was in, like, one of the DC shows, and I follow him on Instagram and stuff, and he put up a picture of him out of season, and he didn't have a six-pack, and people were, like, going mad at him and, like, you know, how dare you get out of shape and stuff, and he had the perfect response to it, and I just think it fits this perfectly. Like, his response was, "You want me to have a fucking six pack? You fucking pay me, and I'll train." Like, you know, that's the kind of mentality, and that's the mentality that these people need to have. Like, you know, you've been hired by Disney to write a TV show and to produce content for the MCU. It's like, you know, you've been hired. You're obviously getting paid. Do your fucking homework. Like, you know, this is your job now. You know, do the work.
I love Dominic Purcell. He's amazing.
He's a legend.
Ever since Prison Break, I've loved him.
Yeah,
like,
he's cool.
Deep heart.
Yeah, he's good. I didn't like him in Blade 3 though. He's, like, real cheesy in it, but again, probably not his fault. It was kind of the movie, but yeah, he played Dracula in that movie. He wasn't great. He was real cheesy, like. But yeah, he's a cool dude in real life anyway. But yeah, like, as I say, I'll always give them the benefit of the doubt for these first two shows, and I think Loki's a wild card because the show was made before the backlash of WandaVision and the backlash of all the things that the fandom found wrong with, you know, the studio coming out and trying to, like, the whole shit with WandaVision was ridiculous. Like, you know, they came out with, there was so many plugs and little hints to Mephisto, and so many hints to Doctor Strange, and the Quicksilver stuff was a fucking joke as well, and I think they baited us, like, fact. And I think they didn't really do it too,
to be honest.
They kind of did it as well with Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well, like, with the whole you know, celebrity female character who's never been in the MCU before, and everyone's like, shit, it's Uma Thurman, she's going to be some crazy character, and then it was a bit of a letdown in my eyes. Like, you know, your one's cool who plays Lady Hydra, but I don't really care about the actress. Like, you know, it's like, it was kind of just built up to be bigger than it was, and I just think Loki is going to be not the make or break, because I think they need to kind of learn from the mistakes that they've had, and the problem is that they've actually probably, I think they've finished. I think they're in post-production for Hawkeye now. So unless they go and do some reshoots and maybe fix some stuff after getting all this feedback from the first two shows, I'm kind of scared, like, for the rest of this year with regards to the TV, because it's all kind of done and it's just been really late to be released. So I just don't know, like, maybe Secret Wars or Secret Invasion is going to be the first, like, show that we have that hasn't been touched yet, and they can go back and take all of the feedback and kind of correct the mistakes that they made in the first batch of shows. But again, that's like next year. So it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary to think that, like, you know, we might have
high hopes for Moon Knight, baby.
Yeah, well, Moon Knight's a kind of brand new thing, I suppose. So it's a bit different to kind of Loki and like characters that we've had before, and you know, this is its own thing. And I think, like, you know, you've got a fresh slate when it comes to that. So I think that's kind of, they've got a creative fresh start, I suppose, in a way. But I really think, like, Loki has the potential to be really good, but at the same time, are they going to kind of do more stupid shit with, like, fake outs and stuff? I really don't know, because the show's already done. So I really think, you know, and I'm fully prepared now. I'm fully prepared for 2 more shows that aren't going to be amazing, you know, because I just think that they just haven't had a chance to get back into the writer's room after getting all of this feedback and kind of understanding what they did wrong in the first round of shows. And, you know, that kind of scares me. But at the same time, I'll revert back to my previous comment where even the shittest Marvel movie that they have in the collection is still a good movie. So I will still watch the shows. I'm sure we'll still be talking about them. We'll enjoy them. It's going to be fun. But yeah.
I'm not hyped up for the MCU on Disney Plus after these shows. Yeah. It's like the whole part of the MCU where everything's tied together, everything, you know, one thing leads to the next or whatever it is. Like, everything's connected and meaningful. And after these first 2 shows, it just doesn't feel like they're that meaningful with inside of it. Yeah. And, like, what do we got coming up? Like, what if, like, it's going to be cool to watch, but it doesn't really affect the overall MCU.
It's all animated as well, right? So it's like, they can do anything there. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, that's just that's creative madness. That's creative madness. Like, you know, that's Rick and Morty style stuff. Like, you know, you can just literally do whatever the hell you want there. Like, I don't think that's even. I wouldn't even call that the MCU, to be honest. That's a side project. That's like an animated show. Like, that is just separate to everything else. I wouldn't even call that MCU.
Right. It's definitely not part of, like, the timeline that's going to affect, you know, what we got going on. She-Hulk, I'm not excited for in the slightest. I'm just not.
I am.
I feel like it's gonna be a really weird lawyer show, man. I'm not excited.
I'm excited because Charlie Cox is gonna be in it. Like, it's gonna tie up, like, Daredevil and stuff. So I feel like that interests me. Show. And you've got Mark Ruffalo as well. So I am quite excited for that.
But I feel like as a lawyer show, it'd be like Better Call Saul of Breaking Bad. I feel like they will make the lawyer part of it secondary to the real story of it.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think they should have done? And maybe they will. But could you imagine they bring in what's her name? Jessica. What's her name? She-Hulk. Jessica Foster or something like that, or
Jessica Jones?
No, the main actress. What's her name? The character. She-Hulk. Oh my god, I can't think of her name right now. It's driving me mad. Is it Jane something? Jessica Biel. No, Jennifer.
That ass is a Hulk alone.
What's it? Jennifer. I can't think of her last name. But anyway, I think what they should have done, especially if they're doing.
Tatiana Maslany.
Is it not like Jennifer Walters or something like that?
No, I mean that's.
Jennifer Walters, Jennifer Walters.
But that's a character. The actress.
I'm talking about the character name. Sorry.
Okay,
yeah, Jennifer Walters. I couldn't think of the name. Apologies. But I think what would have been a really, really cool introduction to her and a really small scene, but would have made it really pop is you bring her into Spider-Man 3, and she's on. You know,
but how many people is going to be in your Spider-Man 3?
Everybody, bro. That's the point. It's going to be the biggest movie ever. That's the point. Oh my god, you don't get it. That's the point. It's going to be the biggest movie ever. I want to see
your story plot for Spider-Man 3.
It's going to be bigger than Endgame. I promise you this.
I don't get how you think the fucking Spider-Man movie is going to have more multiverse than Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Because that's what's happening. Strange is going to be in it. He goes to fix things. He goes to save
Spider-Man
Peter.
3
Boom,
is going to be the
breaks it
stepping
open.
stone.
No.
The Spider-Man 3 is going to be the stepping stone, and then we're going to build on. And I think we're going to see Andrew Garfield, and I think we're going to see Tobey Maguire, but I think it would be later than Spider-Man 3. I think it will be, like, moving forward.
Anyway, what I was going to say was... I think...
the minute you start trash talking Spider-Man. Anyways...
No, I'm just going to revert back to the point because I don't want to be harping on about Spider-Man all night. But what I was going to say was, what they could do is they have the scene in the courtroom where they have Matt Murdock defending Peter Parker, and on the opposite side of the courtroom is She-Hulk. Boom, bring her in for a 5-minute scene, and then that kind of introduces her into the MCU.
I like that. I like that.
I think it's
That's
cool.
a good way of introducing her.
It is. I think it's a great way of introducing her. And then her and Matt Murdock maybe have a bit of a battle in the courtroom, and then, you know, she's on his radar. And then when she gets her own show, that's how he comes in. You know, maybe they start working against each other on a couple of cases.
You can hear her getting angry.
How much we got to raise for you to get a Spider-Man tattoo? Very little, bro. I'd kind of just get one myself.
$5.
Yeah, like nothing. I'll give you money if you tattoo it on me.
How much for a Marvelous Chaps tattoo?
I don't know. Maybe if we got like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube or something, maybe I'd get some.
Make it happen, boys.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Marvelous Chaps on the chaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down. I'll come to Dublin and make you tattoo it on me personally.
Okay, that sounds great. I was thinking of like segmenting out the podcast onto its own YouTube channel. And I don't know if like I could share out the logins or something like that. Maybe just make it more of a kind of a collective between us, like that. You know, if you wanted to, like, you drunkie, like, not asking you to do anything, obviously, but if you wanted to, you know, upload a logo or throw a banner on it or something like that, like, you know, that you have access to it as well. It's not just, you know, because I find it's not just, I know we host it on my channel, but I don't think of it as my show, like it's our show, like, you know, so
right.
Yeah, I think I'd like to kind of segment it off a bit, and then, you know, we could then try and just kind of let it be its own thing, let it kind of grow as its own thing, and go from there. Yeah, I like that idea. Like
the Marvelous Chats.
I kind of, I don't know, like
I'm down, but I have like 100 followers, so
I kind of like made that name up as a bit of a joke. Like I have no problem like renaming the podcast either. Like if we want to.
Oh, we're deep now. It's too late.
I already got tattooed on my sheets.
I like just Marvelous Chats. Like I kind of just call it Marvelous Chats. I don't like. I think that with the like Marvelous Chaps, I think it's good, but it's too long. I think we had that conversation before, Drunky. Like I think just Marvelous Chats is better. Like I kind of when I'm making my shitty little thumbnails and stuff, I just put Marvelous Chats in. I don't put anything else. But
well, you just put in Marvelous Chaps in.
Marvelous Chaps? Do you think Marvelous Chaps is better?
Well, you put Marvelous Chaps in the title right now.
Oh, for today, but yeah, like when on YouTube when I'm making like my thumbnails and stuff, I just put in Marvelous Chats. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's just really continuity is
yeah. Oh, like I think whatever. We're the Marvelous Chaps, so we're talking shite. Like, I read it today or yesterday. Did you see this thing about Martin Freeman with Wakanda Forever? Did you hear about this?
No.
He's in it, right?
He's in it. Apparently, he was approached by Ryan Coogler, the guy who wrote and directed. So apparently, they had a meeting, and he came to him about ideas for Wakanda Forever. And apparently, he was talking about this in an interview, and he was giving plot ideas to Martin Freeman for the movie, and apparently Martin Freeman's face was just like in shock, and Ryan had to keep saying to him like, bro, like trust me, we're gonna make it work, you know. And there's a whole interview, you can read the whole thing, I'll throw it up on Discord, but he's basically talking about how there's quotes from him in it where he's just like, if, you know, fingers crossed it goes the way we want it to go and we're gonna have a good film, you know, maybe it won't be good. Like he's kind of, it seems like a bit up in the air. So people are saying what potentially might happen is they could be, because obviously Marvel have come out and said that they're going to be retiring the character of T'Challa. So, you know, maybe they're going to have him killed on like in the back end, or they might do a scene where he dies. And it's a very like kind of like touchy subject. Like, you know, like I don't know how would you feel about like a scene where you actually watch a villain murder T'Challa, and like obviously it's not Chadwick Boseman, but like, you know, you see him die, and then it's like, you know, the actor's dead in real life, they're retiring the character. It's very kind of shocking.
I think it raises important questions, because like if they would use the T'Challa for a noble death, so to say, I think they would have to ask his family first to use it.
Yeah.
And there we like scratched all can we use it part, because sure, us as fans can have our like opinions, but his family has the uttermost opinion is. And also, do you think they have recorded death scenes for?
See, I think they're going to kill him.
Character.
I think they're going to kill him off camera, and I think it'll just be kind of one of these things that's mentioned, you know, kind of like
they're going to start with a funeral.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how they do it, and they kind of like a news report, you know, the king of Wakanda is dead, and you know it's a story that, like, you know, some mad accident happened and he fell that way.
If we get recruited somewhere in the future to like direct any kind of superhero movie, let's record a death scene with every villain, like every character possible.
I like that.
Just in case.
That's
in case.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Like, okay, this character needed too much money. Let's kill him off. We have the death scene already recorded.
Yeah.
I think they do open it up with a funeral. I think that's the only way to handle it. I don't think they can show him getting killed. I don't know how they explain why he's dead.
Yeah.
But I feel like they do open up with a huge funeral, big moment, big music, because it addresses it for the audience too. So the audience has this like moment together where it's like, you know, Chad, he's gone, he's passed. And like we get closure on his character, and then we all go from there and still have like a great moment. Like I don't know I don't know how they explain it. I don't know what they're gonna do.
So apparently there's this whole thing. I don't know if you've been up to speed on the whole Michael B. Jordan as the Black Superman. Have you been like reading about this? So apparently he was quite on board to play a Black Superman, but he wanted to actually play the Black Superman. He didn't want to play like a reinvention of Kal as a black man. He wanted to actually be the black. There's a storyline in the comics where there is a black version of. He's a different Kryptonian. It's not Clark Kent. And he had said that he didn't want to be a reinvention of Clark Kent as a black man. He just didn't like the idea. And a lot of people are saying that another reason that he's potentially turned this down now is that there's talks of him becoming the next Black Panther. So what they're going to do in the movie potentially is either one of two things. To me, it seemed like he died at the end of the first one. Now, Wakandan tech and stuff, they could maybe bring him back to life, and maybe he didn't die. But the way I kind of understood that end scene was him dying at the end, you know, getting sent off peacefully at the end of the movie. But they could turn it around and say, oh, actually he didn't die, we brought him back to the lab and we revived him or something. But a lot of people are saying that what could happen as well is during this time frame, the multiverse, hate to bring it up again, but it's the biggest plot point of phase 4. The multiverse is still open, so you could potentially be getting a different version of Killmonger come across from a different universe that has not gone down the evil route and has actually lived in Wakanda the whole time, been cousins to T'Challa, and he comes to our universe, hears that T'Challa's dead. Oh my god, devastating! I'll take up the mantle as as Black Panther in your universe. And then I think you get Michael B. Jordan as Black Panther. And I like it as an idea. I really like it.
He was just getting held prisoner. I didn't think he died at the end of it.
It looks like he dies in his arms, and it's the kind of sunset scene and stuff like that. Like, you know, you're off to a better place and blah blah blah. To me, it felt like a death scene. Now, I think they could very easily turn around and say it wasn't, and I think everyone just goes, yeah, fine, fair enough. You know, whatever. Sure. It's acceptable. I like the idea of the multiverse version of where he was never bad in the first place, because then it kind of doesn't ruin the mantle. Because if you give him the mantle, the Killmonger of 616 the mantle, it's like, well, you kind of took Wakanda captive, became the king, started, like, you know, terrorizing the people, and now we're there to accept you as their king. It's a bit kind of sour, especially after the death of T'Challa, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of a different version of him coming in where he was actually a good guy the entire time, and it's like I will honorably take the mantle. But then there's the flip side that maybe they want a female to take the mantle, and then you make his sister the Panther or something like that. But I do hear that Michael B. Jordan is very much so back in the talking to be returning to Black Panther. So, and I think that's maybe what Martin Freeman is kind of freaking out about when he's hearing all these plot things, is that they're talking about, well, hang on, you're bringing Michael B. Jordan back, or you're bringing an alternate reality version of him in? Like, what the hell's going on? I think.
Well, would that be crazy enough for Martin Freeman to freak out? I don't think that would be crazy enough.
I think, like, if you're trying to sell the death of a person in real life and stuff to a character that was so beloved and so important to that character, if you were to turn around and say, like, that there's an alternate reality version of the person that he killed at the end of the first film coming in, who's going to take over the mantle because it's his cousin in that timeline, it's a bit crazy, like, So I can kind of understand why it would be a bit up in the air, and it does sound like a bit of a shaky foundation,
I understand that, but at the same time, it's also, I mean, after I forget the name of the sister, but sure, yeah, exactly. But M'Bako is like the second line, and then we have Killmonger. It's not like
he's not royalty though, right? Their whole thing is it's done on the bloodline. Like, the mantle gets handed down through the bloodline. So
that's true, but I mean,
fact that
like,
he was his friend, I don't think he can get I don't think he can officially take the mantle. I believe it stays in the family, or it's won in combat, right?
Exactly, but I mean, like, when it comes to, like, shocking decisions, I feel like Michael B. Jordan is, sure, it's like, story wise, it's shocking, but, like, character wise, it kind of isn't.
I love Michael B. Jordan in that movie, and I really like.
Yeah, I really do too.
I would love him to be the Black Panther going forward. I really would. Yeah. I am all for it. I love him as a character. I love him as an actor. I love that character. I even like him as a villain. Like, I just love Killmonger.
Yeah, he's a great villain.
Yeah,
he has a great backstory.
Yeah, fantastic. I just don't know how it works with him taking on the throne, and to be accepted.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, if his character doesn't die at the end, or they find a way to bring him back, that universe is, where he almost killed everybody. Everyone hates him as Killmonger.
Yeah.
I do think that if they can spin the movie, as a redemption movie, which I think would be a lot more interesting than just like, hey, this is a good Killmonger. Just because, like, that's kind of like, all right, we have a good Black Panther. It's just kind of retelling the same story sometimes, where it's like the same character. It's like they're a good character who cares about this world, versus somebody like Killmonger who could go on a journey of redemption where he could see a different side of things, come back and take over the Black Panther mantle. Yeah. He does things that make the people of Wakanda accept him as the leader, which a lot of them already did. So you just got to get, like, the other half or whatever to be on his side.
Yeah.
And maybe, whatever way they write off Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, maybe he does things to kind of avenge him, to set the, things straight, to whatever it is. I could definitely see. I think Michael B. Jordan seems like the most natural fit.
Yeah.
To take over the Black Panther mantle out of anybody who was in that movie. I don't think Shuri has the gravitas.
Yeah.
To take over that mantle. I don't see. Anyone else from the other clans definitely doesn't have that presence, that notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
So I just see him being the natural fit.
Yeah, I think him as an actor as well. He has the lead power as well.
Yeah.
He can carry a franchise by himself. And
right.
I think he very much so during the way that movie was always so special. I found that, like, in the real world, it had such an impact to that whole culture, and I think he really, like, was honored to play the role, and I think people just really accept him in that role as well, and I think he would just do a really justified job to the character. Now, and again, I don't really give a shit which way they tell the story. I just think him as a character, him as the Black Panther, whichever way they decide to do it, I think will be great. Like, I think it'll work.
Yeah.
I'm all and again, like, on the complete 180 to it, like, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing his sister become the Black Panther, or one of the Dora Milaje, like the Michonne, maybe taking it up or something like that. Like, she's a fucking badass. Like, imagine her with all the tech and the suit on and stuff. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that either. That'd be incredible.
That should be good.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm still shocked that she wasn't the one in Falcon.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I know, you know, whoever else was, you know, the other no, I can't say that word.
Dora Milaje
showed up. Yeah, like, I know she's been in the movies before, but that feels like that's not, you know, it feels like it's a bigger part.
Yeah,
know?
I feel like she's an easier get because she's not a really well-known actress. Number one, so that's a real world kind of practicality of bringing her in, and then I think it kind of plays a bit more as a kind of poetry thing to the fact that she was the one in Civil War. She was in the guard that was protecting him during Civil War while all the stuff with Zemo would happen. So I suppose in a way she has a personal feud with it, if that makes sense. So I could see on a personal level why she would be there, because she lived like the attack. She was there when the king died and so on. So I can see that. But as far as I was aware, and then maybe I'm wrong, I need to go back and we'll obviously be rewatching them, but during those scenes where the king dies, is Michonne not there? I don't think she's there.
I don't think she is either.
Yeah, so maybe that's why they didn't bring her in. Like, I would presume her as an actress would want anything to do with the MCU. Like, if I'm an actor or an actress and I'm in the MCU, and Kevin Feige's ringing me to do any sort of reprisal of my role, I'm saying yes no matter what. Like, so
what time, Kevin?
Yeah Kevin, can I pay you to get there quicker? Like, you know, so I just don't I don't see why. Now, maybe it was down to scheduling conflicts or something like that, but again, I would do everything in my power to make it work to appear in that.
Right.
But maybe that's they went that way for a specific story point, or maybe it was just easier to get that actress because of pay or something. I don't know. Like, you know, there could be a couple of real world scenarios why that was the way, or it could just be story plots. I really don't know. Wait, the king dies? Whoops.
Who knew spoilers were coming out on this show?
Yeah, actually, like, I'm enjoying the fact that we could kind of like shoot the shit for the last few weeks and just not have to worry about spoilers. Yeah. And what's kind of beautiful about Loki coming out on a Wednesday as well is that we'll have kind of 2 days to watch it. We won't have to rush.
Yeah.
I always kind of feel bad, especially for you, Drunky, like the fact that you're obviously streaming all day. And, you know, I don't want you to get up early and watch a TV show so that you don't have to freak out and have to rush to watch it. So the fact that we have
loving it.
The fact that we have like 2 days to kind of sit and let it sit, maybe watch it more than once if it's good, and then we kind of go in on Friday, and then we, you know, people can just be here because, you know, we're not going to have that initial kind of spoiler alert, like, because, you know, anyone who's probably sitting here listening to us now is going to be watching the show on Wednesday, you know, so.
Yeah, it should be fun. I was enjoying it though. Like, it was giving me an excuse to get up early and go get breakfast. You know, I was getting like biscuits and gravies from places. I was like, this is nice, man.
Nice, living that best life.
Like, normally, you know, you sit down, you get like your dinner, like, oh, it's TV show night, man. We're gonna get some nachos.
Yeah.
It was like that, but we were like, oh man, I'm gonna be a chicken biscuit sandwich, baby. This is gonna be nice.
Hell yeah.
Get some honey on there. Woo.
Yeah, for me, like, when, like, obviously, I'm usually up on Thursday nights gaming, so for me, like, every minute of sleep is important before I have to work on Friday. So, you know, I don't get a chance to get up early and watch the show. So when I finish work, me and her are ordering food in, and we're sitting down watching the show. I let it digest and then jump on the podcast. Like, so for me, that's the way it works for me. But for my Friday, it's usually stay off social media for the whole day because I don't want to get anything spoiled on me. I kind of stay off TikTok, Instagram, all these things, Twitter, and then I can't watch any of my favorite like YouTube channels or anything because it's just like, it's gonna be like watch parties and fucking predictions for the next episode. So for me, I hate that sort of shit.
Yeah, you have a clients meeting, right?
Yeah, I can't get away.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I can't get away with shit like that, dude.
No. But you do what I do. I schedule a client meeting with a fake client. You can use my company name if you want to, and I can use yours. And then we watch it during work time.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Yeah, like my bosses would be like, "Why are you talking to clients?" Like, you know, it's like that's not your job. I love it.
That's a classic for me. Like day after like night
Yeah,
out drinking, I'm always scheduling a client meeting
yeah,
with a fake client.
that's a great idea, dude. I love it. My job is I'm like desk support and stuff like that, so like I'm very much kind of needed on the front line. So,
Uh,
um, unless I was to, and I've tried to do this before, unless like say if I get my work phone and like ring my mobile and just leave a call running, and then it looks like I'm on a phone call. If anyone's like looking to see where my status is online, and it would just say in a call, so I maybe like do that sometimes if I want to take a shower during work or something like that. I'll ring my mobile and just like pretend I'm on a phone call. And then if someone asks, like, "Oh, where were you for the last while?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I was just on a call with so and so." Boom, done. Hopefully, no one in my job is watching right now.
You got it.
Bunch of hucksters.
Imagine. Alex said he rewatched Iron Man 3 recently. He liked it better than the first time. Definitely has its bad moments, but it worked better the second time around. I think a good few. That was me with Captain Marvel as well. My third viewing of it after kind of the events of WandaVision and, you know, the Skrulls and stuff like that, and the Skrulls and Endgame and everything, I think it just kind of sits a bit better.
Yeah, they're just talking to each other, like
exactly. They're just playing off each other, and then they kind of the good of one kind of raises the bad of another a little bit to kind of pull it out of the mud a bit. And I think that's Iron Man 3 probably has a bit of that in it as well. I liked that the little kid from that movie is actually at Tony's funeral. So that kind of tells me that, you know, I presume we're going to go into like an Ironheart story in the future with Tony's daughter getting, you know, taking over the mantle eventually. That's way down the line.
They already have that planned out, right?
Yeah, they do.
They have announced Ironheart, yeah.
They have an Ironheart show, but I think that's like probably 2024 or 25 or something crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw in like... I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that kid show up, because he'll be like a teenager. He'll probably be in his 20s by the time Armor Wars comes out. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him show up in like the likes of Armor Wars. I think that'd be a really good spot for him to make a reappearance. Again, just to tie it all back in, do what Marvel do so beautifully. Bring it all together. Well, not recently, but what they've normally done by tying everything all together.
Right. Good old Marvel.
Yep, good old Marvel.
The TV shows gotta get better. They gotta get interconnected.
They do, and I think they will. I think they've learned from their mistakes. And I think, you know, with the next round of shows, you're not going to have pandemic excuses and stuff like that. And I think, you know, I think Secret Invasion is going to be the start of it, the start of the kind of epicness on Disney. I don't know, that's a bit away, but
yeah,
I think Hawkeye will be cool. I don't think it'll be groundbreaking. I really think it's the shows next year are going to be what pop. I don't think it's this year.
Hawkeye just seems like I'm just
Yeah,
like he's not the most important character in the MCU, and here we are.
I have a soft spot for him.
I think there's a reason to think that's an important series. That he is not an important character per se. I think that will make like the story of the series even more important.
Maybe, yeah.
I can't get over his Endgame scene where he's like, "Why don't you go up there, Thor, with your space hammer and go talk to your wizards?" Okay, buddy.
Yeah, why don't you go talk to him? Like, go up to the Red Skull. To be fair, though,
a little overstretched there in his acting skills.
I feel kind of bad for Clint as a character, though, when that's happening. Like, because it's like, you know, he's lost his family and he's just devastated. And then Widow comes along and kind of clutches him back, brings him back, gives him the hope. You know, like by, you know, letting him go to travel and see his family again. He knows it's all possible now. And she's the one who kind of saves him, brings him back out of the Ronin, like snaps him out of the Ronin phase. And then it's like, boom, she's dead. And it's just like, shit, like this guy just has the worst look ever.
Shucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. Last thing I wanted to kind of bring up as well was Shang-Chi has now been changed to a cinema-only release. It was originally meant to be a duet like release on Disney and in the cinema, and they've changed it now, and it's only going to be appearing in the cinema. So that kind of plays off the back of that trailer, I think, that they released, where they're kind of like, you know, trying to push people back into the cinemas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not far away from like most of the population being vaccinated, so I think
Yes,
that
yeah, 100%. And
yeah,
I think a lot of people are now comfortable at home, and
yeah.
for me, I can't wait to get back to the cinema. Like
Me neither. Me neither.
I love like one of my favorite things to do is when me and my girlfriend get to go out for a bite to eat and then go to a movie. Like that is just classic date night for me and her. Like I love doing it. Like, and you know,
I never sleep as good as I do in the cinemas.
Yeah. Money well spent.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I love
Like
it.
$15 done.
Yeah, I just love the whole experience. I love getting the nachos and you know the
Nachos? You got nachos in the cinemas?
oh yeah,
yeah.
bro, nachos, hot cheese.
Wow.
Woo.
I can get burgers, dude.
What?
Oh yeah, bro. I can get.
We
like,
got
I can get, like,
popcorns, and then we got these like
Sweets and stuff.
bacon tasted snacks.
yeah, that's why you guys are all skinny. Once you can start getting like the deep fried soft shell crab sandwiches at the movie theater, it's over with. You're done for. You're not gonna be able to keep skinny.
Damn.
There's a couple
I'm
of
gonna move to Jacksonville, Florida.
there's a
Let's
couple
go.
there's a couple of theaters over here now
That's a
that
hop
like
and a skip for me.
have bars in them now. So like over here, like so you can go in a few like what people do over here now as well. Like they've started doing like so when they do like the midnight showings, they'll open the place up at like 11. People go to the bar, get a drink or two, and then go into the movie. Which
I
is
got theaters like waitresses, like they'll bring me a refill on my beer, bro. I don't even have to get up.
What the
They just bring it
fuck?
to me.
that's amazing.
We have a shitty ass seat where you sleep amazingly, and then we have like these water diluted cokes and popcorn, which were popped like 5 months ago.
Do you guys get refills on popcorn? Is that a real thing in the States?
Nah.
Oh, yeah. There's some places that do it.
Yeah,
Sometimes you gotta buy like this certain bucket. Like if you buy like a large, you can get a refill. But if you buy like a medium, they won't refill it.
Yeah. That's kind of hilarious as well because it's like you're getting more for the refill. Like it'd be nearly smarter to refill the smaller ones because you're probably like only giving out less popcorn at the end of it. Like you know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Sometimes-
the popcorn is cheap as fuck.
Oh yeah.
XL
And, like,
XL provides one refill for free. Alex
Yeah.
says. That's fucking
and the trick is to get the
hilarious,
XL
dude.
and then like refill it as you're walking out. So now you got some road popcorn to eat while you're driving home.
Hell yeah.
I'm curious about these burgers.
There's
Get
a-
burgers.
There's a theater.
Oh, yeah.
There's a theater chain over here, who they're kind of known for their nachos and cheese. And a guy that I work with, him and his girlfriend's house is like pretty close to the theater. So what they usually do is they'll go in and buy all the nachos and stuff, and then go back to her house. They just bring the food out. They go in and order it.
Nice.
It's like it's so good. They'll go in, order
That's
the food,
smart.
and bring it back to her house, and then just watch Netflix or something. Like,
Dude, I got a movie theater I go to. It's like kind of a smaller movie theater. They show like real old films sometimes.
yeah.
And like they got a full on chef. They got a kitchen. Like there's a chef there and like his whole deal.
Yeah.
That's the one with the waitresses. It's like, but you know, I can't do nachos. Here's my problem: is like I'm always leaning back when I'm watching a movie.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
I just don't
Shit
want
goes
nachos
everywhere.
like all over this. You know. Like,
Yeah.
You're eating the chips and they're just.
I will always still order nachos, but what I try to do is like we always go in early because I want to see the trailers. Like I'm all about the trailers at the cinema, so like we'll go in early. Like we'll be one of the first people seated, and like I usually have my nachos done before the lights go out, like because I just don't want the cheese going everywhere. I hate that like shame walk to the car when you've got like cheese all over you, like.
They should just give you a bib, bro. I'd wear a bib. I'd be
Yeah.
all right with that. You know.
Put a blanket over me. I don't want to get anything on me. Just like you
Please.
know when you get your hair cut, like they throw the fucking the sheet over
Yeah.
you. Be like, just throw a sheet over you, and then we just whip it off at the end. Like no evidence.
Okay, I'm going abroad for the next premiere. That's for sure.
Oh, bro,
gonna be
like
fun.
if you came to Dublin for the premiere, like we could like go out drinking and then, like
Oh.
at like 11 o'clock at night, we just go to the theater, get all of our food, sit down, chill in the seats, and then boom, 12 o'clock, movie comes on.
I'll bring Bronxy and we'll do it.
Imagine that'd be great. You'd probably fly to Dublin. You'd probably fly to Dublin for like €100. Like it wouldn't cost you.
Yeah,
a lot at
well,
all.
I mean, like Ryanair is even cheaper than that.
That's what I mean. You'd fly like you'd do like a day trip or like a
Yeah.
like a 2-day trip.
100%.
Yeah. I used to fly over to Liverpool to go to like concerts, and I wouldn't even book a hotel. We'd arrive in the morning, go to the concert, go out drinking, and then just go straight to the airport and then fly home. Like it would just be like a round trip, like, you know? It's crazy.
Speaking of which, Liverpool is an amazing city to just hang out with.
It's yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good party city, yeah.
Liverpool.
It's bonkers. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I went over there with like 15 of my friends before, like on a drinking trip, like, and Jesus Christ, I nearly didn't make it home. It was crazy. Yeah. It was nuts. Yeah, so it's just kind of the Shang-Chi news was kind of a bit of a shock because it's due out like pretty soon. It's like September, so I think they're really trying to push this back to theaters as soon as possible. Yeah. So to me, that's great.
I think it's all the actors and stuff. They don't want to be on TV shows sometimes, bro.
Yeah.
Like they when they the production people, the directors, the writers, they like that they work on movies that get seen in the cinema.
Of course, it's a whole thing. The box office is a thing. The race to the box office, premieres like where they got to go and showcase the movies and stuff. It's a whole thing. Like Hollywood is built on that whole experience. Like I fully understand. The only scary thing that I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but for the whole pandemic so far, my country has just been so far behind everybody else. Like we're still in lockdown. Like like it's not like it's starting to relax a bit now, and like vaccines are starting to come out now, but like we're still very much not open. Like cinemas still aren't open here. Like I can't go to the movies like now if I wanted. Like so I'm kind of scared in a sense that Shang-Chi could come out in September and I won't be able to go see it because the cinemas might not be open yet. So yeah, that would really annoy me now as a fan, because at least obviously I want to go to the cinema, and if the cinema's a choice I will always pick it, but I obviously want the option to be able to watch it at home. Like right. It really scares me to think that like a movie could come out and I have no way of watching it until it's released on Disney, like, which I think that they're saying when they do these releases, they're saying that they're going to put them up on Disney like a month later. So like I could have to go a month without seeing it. Like that's terrifying to me.
Imagine that episode of Marvelous Chaps where you haven't seen it and we can just like dissect it.
I'll just have to like control the Discord, just mute you each time that you go to say something.
Exactly. It's funny.
Oh my god, guys, we nearly did 3 hours there. That was a good chat.
It was a great chat.
It was a great chat.
Good job, chaps.
Marvelous. Next on the list is Thor 1.
Ooh.
And I've got a very, very special place for that first Thor movie. I actually
blonde brow.
I hate the costumes. I hate his eyebrows. I don't know what they were thinking bleaching his eyebrows. It's shocking to me. Even like Odin and stuff like that, he's so cheesy looking, but the movie's just fucking great. Like when he first lands,
it's amazing.
When he first lands on Earth and he's like, smashing the coffee cup, another, and it's like, what are you doing? He's like, I liked it, I want another. And all, like, it's just so good. Like it's just such a great movie.
Well, it hasn't been like a story posted this week with like quote a bunch of newcomers, two newcomers, like outsiders being casted for this role with Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth
in the Thor.
Yeah, this week I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. Like,
is this for Love and Thunder? Are you talking about, or is this
no? For the first Thor, when they casted Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth,
right?
Yeah, they call them like a bunch of nobodies, a pair of nobodies. That's what they call them.
Right. Yeah.
And that story has been like re-aired this week a bunch of times on like Reddit and Twitter and so on.
Interesting.
Seen it a couple of times. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like if you think back, like what was Chris Hemsworth doing before Thor and what was Tom Hiddleston doing? Not a lot. Like Hiddleston was very much a British actor. Like I don't think he had done much. I would need to go and kind of go back on the right.
Yeah, he was more theaters. Like
he's a fantastic actor. I love that Marvel gave him that chance. Have you seen that The Night Manager on, I think it's HBO. Is it HBO?
No, sorry, no.
Night Manager, it's called. I think it's on Amazon Prime now. I think you can watch it on Prime, or maybe it's been taken down. But check your Prime. It's only like a 5-episode miniseries with Tom Hiddleston. Fucking incredible, really good. Well worth the watch. He's a really, really good actor in it. Have a look at it. Yeah, The Night Manager. It's a very short one. Like it's about 5-hour journey. Like, but it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Chris Hemsworth, like what was he doing before Thor? Like was Thor his first big movie? I don't even know.
I hadn't really heard of him that much. I don't think.
I'm actually checking right now. I'm curious now.
And that's kind of the story with the MCU, though, right? Like Chris Evans wasn't that big of a star. Robert Downey Jr. was on like the decline, and he was like a huge risk for him. Like they really went out there and found some people for this this whole deal.
Whoever they're casting
because they were
agents
smart
are
or because
just
they were
incredible.
sheep.
So yeah, Chris Hemsworth, was definitely, he was like a TV actor in Australia. Sorry, I do remember this now. As I'm looking at this, he was in like Home and Away and stuff, which is actually massive in Ireland. Like it has a massive following over here. It's kind of like a kind of like Days of Our Lives kind of shitty show like for them. But then he got his first big role was he played George Kirk in the first Star Trek movie, the remake. Do you remember he was?
Oh yeah.
Kirk's father. That was his first big role.
Mm.
That was his first movie. That was the first thing he did on the big screen. And he did a couple of small roles after that, and then he did a short as Thor, like a video short, and then obviously that was kind of building up Thor then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, as a Swede growing up with Thor as an actual god.
Oh god, yeah. Big.
Yeah.
Thor's a massive to your culture.
Exactly.
Massive. Yeah.
I feel like a Skarsgård brother should have made like shortcut for the Thor role.
I would. Yeah, I fully see it. Fully see it. I was, again, I'm surprised they don't, like, not one of them. But I suppose
Stellan is in. Like,
yeah, their dad. He plays
exactly.
Eric. But I'm surprised none of the sons have made an appearance, especially the blonde one, the tallest one that was in what was that vampire one called? True Blood.
True Blood.
Yeah.
True Blood.
He was
great.
Yeah. Like I'm surprised he hasn't made his way to the MCU yet.
Yeah.
Very surprised.
Yeah, definitely.
I would nearly put money on the fact that they're now kind of dipping into the old gods. We've got Zeus coming and Hercules and stuff like that. Maybe he plays Hercules. Maybe he plays one of the other gods that coming up, like, you know.
I feel like
Poseidon
Volter is gonna get a role soon, and us being Twitch guys, Volter streams a lot. I feel like he's up and coming in the Hollywood scene.
Yeah, big
Down.
time. Big time, yeah. Big time down. Okay, guys, thank you so much for this week. As always, it's been a pleasure.
Great chat.
Yeah, it was
Great having an Nasdaq.
Great chaps.
It was great, and hopefully we get some more people in next week. You know, it's always good having more bodies to bounce off. Maybe we'll see if Zebra Wolf wants to make an appearance next week. Maybe. I'm down. I'm down. Alex, you can come in, dude, for sure. 100%. My internet now. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Got that tier 2 on you, baby.
Guys,
Yeah.
sorry, my internet just timed out for a second there. Sorry, I'm here now.
That's okay. We heard
Apologies. I couldn't hear you. The screen froze me for a second.
you. No worries.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, we'll definitely be back next week. We might have Kyle back next week as well, and maybe Bronxy. Zebra Wolf, if you want to do a bit of a guest appearance next week, watch Thor. Come on, have the chats with us. Thank you so much for that sub, dude. As well, you're a legend. Guys, much love.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I'll see you
guys.
I shall
Take care.
see you tomorrow in the stream.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight for the podcast. I'm just going to take a quick 2-minute break. But we're going to play some games, so